used to call myself a Fisher Random hater. You could rearrange the pieces and the game changes in such an essential way.
Do you think Hans' reputation is self-inflicted?
He gave his word, he's got to do it.
Why did you retire from competitive chess?
Yeah, I need to pretend that my life is on the line here.
Is it a toxic passion?
I would have dug my grave over like one day of blitz. Drama has found me, claiming that freestyle is the future. It will replace FIDE. Oh, this is Magnus's philosophy. He spits on classical chess.
Well, the only person who is usually crying is Hikaru, no?
This is an untouchable topic. Like, I don't know how to say this without pissing people off. Biggest problem is the lack of a rating, which creates an immediate lack of motivation.
Is Levy going to become a GM?
This is Women's Grandmaster Dina Belenke, together with me, my wonderful co-host Emily Plays Chess, and our today's guest is one of the legendary grandmasters and one of the best online players in the world, one of the best commentators, best. So many things. So, Danya, what are you not good at?
Yeah, I feel like when people introduce me, the introductions get more and more flattering, and I'm not worthy of all these titles. I like introducing people. I don't know if I like being introduced. What am I not good at? Let's see, tying my own shoes.
Driving a car.
Driving a car. I mean, all the things that grandmasters are known to be good at. As Peter likes to say, I'll grant you that you're good at chess, but you're only good at one thing. Spend your whole life just getting good at one thing at the expense of everyday items that are necessary for survival.
Well, you are very good at that one thing, so you've at least accomplished that.
I can drive a car, by the way. I am proud of the fact that I'm a fairly well-adjusted grandmaster, but the bar is pretty low, I admit.
I wonder between you and Emily who actually drives better.
I mean,
it's a low bar, so hopefully you.
Yeah.
There's obviously been a lot of things happening in the chess community that you've been involved with, some tea, some interesting allegations that people may be familiar with. So a lot to unpack, and we're gonna go through all of it here today. So, Dina?
Danya, I guess the first thing that I want to bring up in today's conversation is Levy your friend?
Oh, that's a question. Is Levy my friend? I parsed that as the first thing I want to bring up is Levy, your friend. My friend Levy, absolutely. And the fact that I didn't say anything means yes. The answer to the question is yes, I am, honored to call Levy my friend. People have this idea in their minds that we've known each other since we were children and we played all the same scholastic tournaments together. In fact, we were a world apart. He did the stuff that I was doing, except I was on the West Coast, he was on the East Coast. I knew who he was because we were both, showing some talent in scholastic tournaments. We chatted here and there on the Internet Chess Club, but I really only got to know him well during, COVID time. We started to chat. By now, we've hung out in person many times. It really was a pleasure to get to know him and Lucy. And, there's a lot about Levy that I think people might misunderstand when they just see him through his videos. I think he's a very down-to-earth guy with a big heart, and I'm very happy to call him my friend. I mean, obviously, this was a leading question. You have something specific to ask about. So I'll let you cut to the chase. But yes, really like Levy and only have the good things to say about him. Well, maybe not the last video, but
yeah, actually, I guess the point was to bring up the latest context. Levy posted a video about your match with Andy,
but I guess Andrew Woodward. I guess that is his full name, Andy Woodward, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Andy Woodstock, as people on my stream like to say.
The amazing grandmaster who you happened to play a match of 15 games, and that match was not the one you're the most proud of. Levy made a video and...
Speak for yourself, Nina. I'm very proud of losing 0 to 15 in 3 minutes. I do that all the time.
Right. So I guess what we wanted to unpack here on this, not a podcast. What was your reaction when you saw Levy posting this video, and specifically when you watched it? Yeah,
so first of all, for context, I won't provide all the context. I'm sure we'll get to that. The match happened, well, we're recording this, it's April, like early April. So this was like 2.5, 3 weeks ago, exactly. Yeah, time. 2.5, I don't even have the right date on my watch. 2.5, 3 weeks ago at the time of recording. Okay, when the match happened, I knew that there would be like now I'm so used to there being a Twitter reaction anytime there's any kind of anomaly. And I admit, like when I lose 0 to 15 to someone in 3-0, like, yeah, I can understand and I can't blame people for paying attention to that. This YouTuber called Epic Chess, do you know who that is?
Epic
He's
sounds
this
familiar, but
rich guy, and he's like, okay, he seems like a very nice, how would you say it in like British English, bloke chap. He seems like a very nice chap, very friendly. He's made some very, positive videos about me. I really have nothing bad to say about the man himself. I do think that if I were to provide one piece of unsolicited advice to him, he goes overboard with the like it's not just clickbait. It is like, you will die unless you watch this video. Like in this video, like Magnus played the Sicilian, but this is an opening you've never seen before. Like it is a little bit over the top. And so he was the first to make a video about my match with Andy, like a few days after he played. And it was, kind of similar to Levy's. The vibe was similar, like what happened to Danya. Like the games are, like he played like a 900 and, like it was the same old stuff. And the comments, of course, I know I'm not supposed to look at the comments.
That's what we will say to each other.
Everyone on my stream is like a Zen master. They're able to just avoid ever engaging with the public reaction. But it was all like wild speculation. One guy was like, I know for a fact this was not Danya, or he like threw games or, gave his account to someone, or he was drunk or high or like all of those things put together. And obviously, am I more sensitive than the average Joe to these types of accusations? Yes, because like it may sound like an innocuous YouTube comment to someone, but if it gets 500 likes, I'm not like, it's not that I'm asking people not to do this. I am demanding that like, I know where this could lead, and I'm not like willing to accept round 2 of like the BS spreading around, because it's so much harder to establish and spread the truth, especially if it's not congruent with people's appetite for drama, which is insatiable recently. So I went on stream the day after my match with Andy, explained to people what happened. I'll leave that aside for now. And that didn't move the needle at all. Then when Epic Chess made his video after that, it's like nobody referenced my stream. And so when Levy made his video, it was like that, except there were not 30,000 views, there were 200,000 views. And all of the comments are either like, there's 2 types of comments that trigger me. And I'm supposed to be unfiltered in this podcast, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I will start with 200 views is so low for Levy. Damn, he's
200,000.
200,000 is so low for Levy. He passed his peak. I mean, a year ago he averaged 1 million, or like maybe it's a year and a half ago. But yeah, go ahead with Unfiltered.
Yeah, I mean, to me that's still like a lot of. And please stop me if I'm dragging on or I'm being boring. I want you to promise that.
Are you being bored?
No, continue.
Because I have a tendency to fall in love with the sound of my own voice.
I think that's
I chose the right
weird.
job for myself, chess comment. I get to just talk for 8 hours.
Speaking of, we'll elaborate on that later.
So many juicy topics. So,
yeah.
Okay, Levy puts out this video. Friends sent it to me. I listened to it like on speed, 1.5x. Was very irked by some of the things in the video, and I'll get to that. First, I want to kind of give the general context. Then I listened to it more carefully when I got home, and I was a lot more irked. And of course, all the comments are all the same. Either people say that, Kramnik this, Kramnik that, like, didn't Kramnik also accuse Danya? Like, oh, he's also in that club of players. And again, I'm not trying to solicit sympathy or pity, but if you're already talking about it, let's not pretend that, first of all, tweeting about, Andy, who is not just like incredibly promising, as I've told him many times, but just a model of great behavior. I mean, he's so mature. He's so modest. Like, I saw him at the World Blitz in New York. I have only the best things to say about Andy. I really, really like him. He's such a sweet kid. And, it's pathetic. Just pathetic to tweet about someone like that without even seeing the games, without knowing the context.
You did beat him in New York, though.
And we played both in the World Rapid and in the World Blitz, something I was a little bit, like Levy could have mentioned that. I beat him both in the Rapid. It was my best game, I think, of the tournament, and in the Blitz. And he's a beast. Like, I took him very seriously. Anyways, that was one type of comment. The other one was, again, Danya, something was wrong. Like, either like, let's send him a care package. Like, what's wrong with him? Or like, he was clearly like wasted out of his mind, playing on some, like, in some bar, Or again, like, clearly these games were thrown either as a setup for Kramnik or, he lent his account to a student, which is crazy to me. Like, people will say this and as if they know something, they don't know anything. So it's been this normalization. And I understand that most of these people might be trolls, but not all of them. I think people just they say this stuff with no context or information when it's actually quite easy to ask me. I'm pretty reachable, right? I stream. You can come in and ask me what happened. I also was a little bit irked. Levy didn't establish the truth. And we've already made up, he has already reached out to me, something that I was very touched by. So I'll get to that in the end. This story has a happy ending. And I feel like there's just such an easy way to resolve most of these disputes that have recently blown up into scandals. But that's just because everyone has fallen in love with behaving like children. That's the order of the day.
But isn't that people on the internet in general?
Well, but I'm talking about in some cases, the GMs and the famous people involved, they don't do anything to counteract these influences. But when you say why are you paying attention to the trolls? 99% of the comments are stuff that are accusing me of fair play violations. In light of what happened and in light of the fact that people don't realize how close the bad guys were to winning, I just have no tolerance for this. I know where it could lead. And I was just irked that I have to start wallowing in that mud again. And it's not a big deal. Levy's reached out. We talked about it. As usual, he was very mature, emotionally intelligent, and he behaved as a good friend would.
Want to use this as an opportunity to tell everyone kind of what was going on in that match? You presumably weren't drunk or high.
No, not to my knowledge. And by the way, if I was, I think I would play better than that. That's the point.
Yeah.
But okay. So first of all, if you look at the games without any prior context, it looks pretty weird. The first two games seem pretty normal, but then I repeat the same trap 4 times. It's I don't even know if I could show. I don't even remember. Does the camera see the board?
Yeah.
This is the only time I'll show anything on the board, I promise.
Yeah, let's do that.
I know you weren't prepared for that, so I'm sorry to be so difficult.
No, it's great.
I'm not even positive I can remember, but I think I can. So Jababa London.
Okay.
Bishop f4, c5. Now here there's e4 is recommended in the course. One person said oh, Danya, I know this isn't him because he's not playing what he recommended in the course I made with Sasha Bortnik. Oh yeah, it's I'm now confined to playing only those lines. So knight f3. Now Andy played, I think he took, queen takes d4, knight c6, I'm going queen d2. And let me remember, just give me a second. Oh yeah, it was here. I want to say it was here. Okay, now it's going to be more suspicious if I don't remember this trap, because it's just how, not only did you fall into it 4 times, now you can't reconstruct it. I mean, I can look it up, but it's some move where my queen gets trapped on b7. It's some line where I take the pawn. I want to say it's some position like this, and black goes knight a5. And you could superimpose a little board later.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bore people trying to remember it.
We'll put the 2D somewhere.
I walked into this, I think, 3 times, and then the 4th time I moved my queen back at the last second, but it was already. Can I cuss or no?
Yeah.
It was already shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
If shit is a curse, Danya, come on.
Some people take it so seriously. They're I'm very laissez-faire on. Okay, my 4-year-old kid was watching your Twitch stream at 2 a.m. and he heard you say shit. Okay,
what do the kids listen when I say?
The problem is he's watching your stream at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever. It sounds like a you problem. So anyways, I walk into this trap 4 times. I blunder completely elementary things. And then at various points, there's 40-second pauses on recaptures, which is, you'll see this not so seldom in my games because I have a life and people seem shocked at this, that I'll get a phone call during the game. I'll be doing stuff when I play casual blitz. Sometimes I'm doing my taxes. Not that I do this until April 13th. I do sometimes multitask on non-chess things.
On the casual matches, right? On casual games.
I don't have the luxury of just always blocking off time when I'm not streaming. I try, but it's not always possible. So that was one of those occasions where I was talking to family. There was an urgent task that I was taking care of. And then the first 2 games I played while focused. And I was mad that I lost because I was like actually looking forward to that blitz session. Then, because I was mad, I kept playing even though I was already very distracted. And I wasn't just distracted. I was like on my main monitor, I was just like doing completely non-chess related stuff. And I was just making random moves, trying to like procrastinate until I could refocus. Fortunately, that first call took much longer than I thought. Then, Dina, you can confirm, like I won't get into the details, but like
I can confirm.
There was a false alarm. Like I thought something bad is going on. So I actually, you were one of the people I talked to. This is all happening during the match. So like, it was unfortunate, but Andy and I agreed to 15 games. And because I was ultimately on tilt, I just kept playing. And people, well, why'd you keep playing? Why didn't you just stop? Okay, yeah, Mr. Perfect. Like maybe you do everything rationally.
No, but you agreed. You agreed with the person.
I agreed with the person. And at some point I understand I'm going to get destroyed. What people truly don't understand is it doesn't even matter to me. Like this is casual chess. It's not competitive chess. I'll get my rating back. Like I know my real strength is like 3,100 or whatever, 3,150. Even now, unfortunately, Dina, I think like the Andy match and the fact that I've been kind of in a slump recently and unable to get over 3,000 until yesterday.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Tada. When I go on stream now, it's like every second comments, what happened to your rating? Like, is everything okay? Like, why is your rating so low? What happened in this match? What happened in that match? And I want to talk more about this separately, but people are like all up in my business. And we're talking not about tournaments. I understand I did bad in a Title Tuesday or in an over-the-board tournament. That's legitimate. But when I play casual blitz, like this is a personal matter, right? These are completely non-competitive games. I win some, I lose some. I once beat Magnus 9 in a row because he was shit-faced drunk at the Chess Bra House. I didn't make a video about it because, I don't know, like I think it's a basic thing, like as a chess professional, I have a conscience. Like I wasn't proud of it. It was funny, like it's nice to say that I beat Magnus 9 times in a row, but like why would I like give the man a night off, right? Like let him be a human. And sometimes it feels like, I don't know, like people just, there are certain like rating stalkers who are like constantly notifying other people, oh, Danya's playing, like Danya's this rating. Like, why is that why is that your business? Focus on your own development. It's kind of gotten out of control.
We were kind of...
Sorry for the...
No, it's great.
Rant.
We were kind of talking about this, like, isn't this in any field? Whenever you're one of the best, people are always behind you and kind of always like trying to, like, I was thinking like Magnus should probably kind of feel the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm not one of the best. I'm not a professional player. I'm retired from over-the-board chess. This is what I don't understand. It's like, I'm a good blitz player. On a good day, when I'm on fire, I hit 32.79. That was my peak. When I did it, there was no video about that. I think that day I like adopted 2 GMs, nothing. If anything, it's like people are just suspicious. So if I'm under 3,000, it's weird. If I'm 3,200 or over, like Wallfish is working again. Like what am I, like damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's funny how often that situation occurred where I felt like no matter what I did, there would be a certain like class of people who would like get suspicious. So
yeah, I mean, I guess like online chess is not considered really serious, and like online ratings and things. Obviously, you feel the pressure of like maintaining a high rating because you have people who are trolling and always looking at, you know, what's happening with it so they can go drop comments. So I mean, but like what's your take? I mean, do you take your online rating very seriously, or you know, it's kind of just like
well, first of all, I want to clarify something. I am beyond privileged to have the community that I do. We're talking here about like the 1.01%. I fully acknowledge that I have a flaw, a character flaw. I do tend to hyper-focus, sometimes neurotically focus on the one negative comment. I get endless support during the Kramnik stuff. I could not have pulled through without like a flood of emails, messages. Every channel was flooded with genuine messages of support. And so like I don't want those people to feel unacknowledged. And again, Daniel's always focusing on the one negative comment. Like I absolutely not only acknowledge, but acknowledge the actual impact of the fact that I have an incredibly loving and supporting community. Other communities treat me very, very well. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now onto the trolls. Is my rating important to me? Yes and no. So this will be hard to explain because over the board rating is the only rating which is important to absolutely everybody, because this is the objective measure of strength. I want to get to that later. When we talk about freestyle, I think that this, why are you laughing, Dina? What is that? What am I supposed to, how do I interpret that?
Okay, I'll just clarify for everybody that like people on the internet tend to have this confusion about calling a chess.com rating an ELO rating. Chess.com is not an ELO rating.
Tasha, yeah.
Yeah, it's
There's porridge in their head, as you say in Russian.
Yeah, so chess.com is a like, am I allowed to say fiction rating?
Yeah,
it's a fiction online rating of that particular platform, just as Lee Chess is an online rating of that, just as FIDE Online Arena has its own fiction, and ICC has its own fiction rating, online rating, and then FIDE has an official online rating as well that you can get on FIDE Online Arena. But my point is that ELO rating is the real one that matters to like everybody in the world, supposedly, right, to all these elite chess players, and yet, like, they kind of still behind the scenes, everybody's talking about how important, like, putting pressure on the importance of the chess.com rating.
There's a couple things that always cause confusion. First of all, ELO rating is like chai tea. So in most languages, including Russian, chai, Hindi too, like means tea. So it's like I'm ordering tea.
Yeah.
And Elo is the last name of Arpad. Elo is a Hungarian mathematician who designed the rating system, right? So you can refer to Elo as, there's an official word for it, like as a stand-in for rating. My Elo is 2600. My Elo is 900, right? Or my rating is 900. Those are interchangeable. If you say my Elo rating, people are like, well, is that the same as just rating? Right? So I would prefer to refer to it either as Elo or simpler my rating. Now let's say I get paired with someone on chess.com who isn't a streamer, God forbid. A lot of people, first of all, just assume that they automatically suck. Like, how are you losing to this random GM? I'm like, well, this random GM here is like 2705. And I'll say this rating and people are like, what do you mean? I'm always by default referring to their classical over the board rating because there is this is the, let's say, the international currency that is most trusted by everybody. And it has actual real world impact, right? You get invites.
Even to freestyle.
When push comes to shove, when God evaluates whether to send you to chess heaven or chess hell, like he will look primarily at your over the board rating, not your chess.com rating.
What's your over the board rating?
I'm going to hell then.
There's a funny story that Alexander Alekhine, world champion, he told this joke. Do you know Bogolyubov?
Yes, of course.
He was one of the top players of the early 20th century. His last name basically means God lover in Russian. And
what, Yefim Bogolyubov?
Yefim Bogolyubov, very good.
Oh, yeah.
He was also a Bogolyubov lover. He was
that's what you mean, yeah.
Alekhine like crushed him twice, I think, in world championship matches. And there was a little rivalry between them. Alekhine kept roasting him. So Alekhine related that he had a dream in which Alekhine died and he was at the gates of heaven and he was getting evaluated. And, you know, the St. Peter or whatever, whoever guards heaven, the gates of heaven is like, Mr. Alekhine, with full due respect, can't go in. We don't allow chess players into heaven. He says, oh, that's a real bummer. And as he's heading out, he says, wait a second, isn't that Bogolyubov playing chess over there in heaven? Isn't he a chess player? And the guard says, no, but he thinks he is. Okay, that was not the reaction I was expecting. Thank you for laughing, Emily. Okay, adjusting my humor.
No, it's amazing. It's perfect. I was actually thinking about like he loves the god, so that's why he's there. That's what I was expecting.
Oh no, yeah.
That's why I was kind of like shocked because like Bogolyubov is like
God. Oh, you thought
God
it was
lover,
right?
No, so I thought that was the joke. Yeah, that he was in heaven because his name is Love the God.
No. Sorry to bring that up to confuse. No. Bogolyubov has a famous quote, like when I win with white, it's because I play 1d4. When I win with black, it's because I'm Bogolyubov. Like, all right, dude, let's chill out.
Yesterday, I saw it on April 1st, April Fool's Day, like the joke by Emil Sutovsky, how like, I think Bogalov wasn't, no, maybe not. No, it was someone else. It was Borislavsky, and he was driving. You read that one?
Oh, he was driving, Gligerich was driving.
Yes, the car. And then
didn't know this.
Then Tal or Petrosian and Fischer.
Tal and Fischer,
and they were like in the car, and then this like Grandmaster, which is like a top 10 or whatever.
Yugoslav Grandmaster.
Gligerich. Yeah, he said like.
I can't look at this tweet trap.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
As you're talking, yeah.
So he was driving the car, and they almost like got crashed, and they were all like grandmasters. It was during like a rest day of a tournament, and then I think Tal, former world champion, said to Fischer, who was a current world champion, he said to him like, "Oh my God, like this like." Grandmaster set like all of like this 10 great grandmasters or like whatever, not 10, like 4 or 5, whatever, off clip. Like almost, we were almost crashed. And then Fischer replied, only 2. Like only 2 great players were there. So he's like, no, it's okay, only 2 great like players almost died. There's something like that, right? You read that though?
I will be honest, I listened to the clip and I didn't really get it when Stosky was retelling it. Yeah. With full due respect to your retelling, it did not clarify. It was some diss of the top players. I think that was the gist of it, right?
Yeah, I just like that joke because it was like compared to whatever you just told, the story was similar.
It's so hard. Sometimes when I tell stories on commentary, the worst is when I'm telling a story and I realize it's much longer than I thought it was in your head because I have to say all these details and I'm telling the story and I know it's been too long and moves are happening like fuck, like I'm already too deep and people are getting impatient, so it's hard to know like when the right moment is. Forget the Alekhine Bogalubov. I don't remember why I brought him up.
Because he loves the god.
So people in general, like the average chess fan, puts a lot of stock into online like chess.com blitz rating because it's the most visible component, right? It's what you see in the viral clips. It's what you see in SCC matches. It's what you see when I stream. So they think that because I'm 3,200 sometimes, or because they saw a match with Magnus where the score was 5-5, therefore I'm as good as Magnus. And this is part of the problem, which is that, like, I know myself, I have always been a good blitz player. Like my blitz level not since birth, like since I learned chess, essentially, any of my old coaches can confirm this. I always wanted to play blitz, and my blitz rating relative to my classical rating was always much higher. Like when I was 1,500, my coach at that time was Irina Mikhailova, women's GM, my first coach. And we would play blitz and on ICC, and I would like hold my own. I'd win some games, right? And she's a really good blitz player. She actually played in the Bullet Brawl recently, and she outplayed me. And I was like,
what?
She probably doesn't remember that she coached me.
No, she must be.
And it was not even a spoken. It was 2004 maybe. So the lesson would happen on the Internet Chess Club. She would type in the chat, like this position, white to move. And then I think she'd like play. And I'm like, I'm still thinking play. Like I would have to say a move.
Yeah, it's interesting those times.
You're supposed to say like, wow, that's a really interesting memory. But please cut to the chase. So I promise the main point
Can you
here.
say that?
Most of the top players, they don't play regularly on chess.com. And related to that, when they play casual, it's really casual. Like if Wesley So is playing, like when I'm playing on chess.com, it's purely at the distraction from my analysis. So it's like not serious at all. So I've beaten Wesley 9 in a row before in 3+0. And people are like, well, Naroditsky took a quick draw against him at the World Blitz. Like, didn't he almost adopt him? Wesley's level in that match was nowhere near the Wesley that shows up when there's something on the line. For top players, there's a switch that goes on when they feel that something's on the line. This also happens if I'm playing casual matches with Magnus. Sometimes I win a few games, and suddenly it's like night and day. It's like boom, and I know I'm not going to win another game in the match. Ferrugia, same thing. If the top players had been taking chess.com blitz with the same seriousness, I would not be 3,200. I would be probably approximately where I am in the over-the-board blitz rankings. I think number 20, number 25. I think that's my approximate blitz strength, which I'm very proud of. But like the people who say in kind of a loaded manner, like 3280, like you were number 1 on the site, why are you not like 2750? They don't understand the subtleties of chess.com blitz rating. To answer your question, yes, I take it seriously. I find it hard to sleep at night if I'm under 3,000, right? Because I'm annoyed, because I'm playing badly. Is it existential for me? Am I gonna grind 24 hours until I get my rating back? Yes. Is it significant in some philosophical sense? No. It's more that I love blitz. Would I still play blitz if there was no rating system? Absolutely, I would.
The rating does matter to you, but you just really love the blitz, and you're gonna grind until you're over the.
People don't understand how much I love blitz, and for how long I've loved blitz. My dad had to take my computer. He had to institute and this was not my parents' style. They're immigrant parents. They don't do the you're grounded. Here are the list of rules. That's a white parent thing. My dad imposed his power silently. It was unspoken. I knew I couldn't violate the rules, or else there would be he would tear me a new one. So for him to actually take a computer away, I was obsessed with blitz from a very early age. I remember one time Alexander Onishuk, grandmaster, he stayed the night at our house in the Bay Area because he had a flight the next day or something. I was like, Sasha, can we play just a few games of blitz? I promise. Then I'll let you sleep before your flight. Before I knew it was time for me to go drive to school, and he, of course, is a little bit older, so he was dying, all-nighter. I sucked him into an all-nighter playing over the board blitz. I love that shit. It is the only thing that I can do for literally an endless amount of time without losing my love for it. I love blitz. I'm super passionate about it, and the rating adds a little bit of motivation. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if I climb from 3,000 to 3,200 in one day, I'm in a really good mood. I feel a sense of achievement. But again, in the grand scheme of things, it's Sisyphean, right? The rock falls back down the hill every time. And there's some fun in being at the bottom of the hill, in anticipation of the climb.
Right.
Is that how you felt, waking up today?
Well, I was over 3,000.
Okay.
But the slump that I've been in the last few days, I'm not going to offload the blame. Part of it has been my taxes and family
Levy.
stuff. And again, people are so why don't you just put off the call until later? Do you not have a life? Do you not have stuff that you have to do urgently? I'm always shocked. So it's been a stressful period. And then it just seems every time I think, okay, finally my life is drama free, I'm in the middle of something again. It's one thing after another.
Drama finds you.
Drama has found me. Yeah. The harder I try to escape from it, the more I find myself embroiled in it.
So, on an average day, how many hours of blitz are you playing?
There's no average day because my schedule varies so wildly.
Okay.
On stretches where I'd have commentary, I can go a couple weeks basically without playing.
Let's say when you don't have commentary, when you are on to yourself.
Also, it's impossible. Some days I will play literally morning to night. I've played for 24 hours. That's rare, but it has happened. I would say 5-6 hours is a good estimate.
That doesn't sound a lot.
Well, I think people just don't understand. Chess is my life. For me, this is the natural. I play blitz while I do other things, while I'm cleaning, and that's why there's a 1 minute pause between when my opponent takes my queen and I recapture. I have to go reload the laundry. People pathologize. They'll go, it's an addiction or whatever. Yeah. What are you passionate about? Tell me what what you've dedicated your life doing. And just one last point, I promise, and I'll let you direct the conversation.
No, this is great. We actually wanted it to be a conversation, Danya.
When the what's a conversation?
It's not an interview.
No,
this is weird.
This is awesome. I'm really enjoying this. And
awesome.
There's this YouTuber Chess Ray. Do you know who that is?
Chess Ray?
Russian YouTuber. Not related to Robson.
No.
Or as my coach said, Robson. He's a Russian language YouTuber who did statistical videos on potential cheaters and Kramnik and stuff. Mm-hmm. Nice guy. So anyways, he invited me to do a podcast on his channel during I need a name to refer to the period of time where I was in the middle of the accusations, the craziness, the hysteria, the Salem witch trials. That was a huge trigger for a lot of people. They hated when I mentioned the Salem witch trials. Naroditsky is he's so obsessed with soliciting sympathy that he's comparing himself to these poor girls in the 1600s. No, I'm not. I'm just, honestly, there's like some uncanny similarities. So, anyways,
I think it was in November or...
yeah, like I agreed to do the podcast, and it was like an interrogation, and he was very nice, but like the first question was, okay, so there was a day last year where you played blitz for like 24 hours, but there's one thing that doesn't make sense, because on that same day you played an over-the-board event in Charlotte Chess Center that started at 5 p.m. local time. And I see that your last game on the Lead Chess Titled Arena ended at 4:59 and 33 seconds. How is it possible that you played a game in Charlotte, round one, did you arrive at the center in 37 seconds? All right, so this is like the level of scrutiny that I was subject to. I actually investigated because I remembered that day, and the start time of the tournament was improperly read. It was 5:30, so I found a message I sent to Peter that at 5:17 on my way, like I'm gonna go, really fast because I drive safe. I barely made it, but I basically told him, like, this is the situation. What do you think is going on? The implication is that I have some bot that's playing for me, or like I have programmed a bot to play with my style at my rating because I have nothing fucking better to do. And there were like a couple moments like this. He's like, well, how can you play for X number of hours without losing strength? It's like, I'm not 50 years old. Like Vladimir Borisovich, with full due respect, I'm a fucking degenerate. This is like what I live for.
Well, it is your passion, right? But do you think in like this particular case, in your case, is it a toxic passion?
Blitz or chess in general?
Maybe both. I don't know if the opinion differs between.
Well, I think in the past, since the madness started, Madness Carlson, I have definitely, for me, like blitz is primarily a de-stressor. Like my personality type, I can get very I can get very, very worried about stuff, and I'm a worrier. Not a warrior, but a worrier. So like when I play chess, I get to experience what I love. It helps me distract myself. It helps me think things through as I'm playing. That's why I think I'm able to play well on stream. It's just it's just how I'm.
You're just 20 things
built
at the same time in your brain, right?
Right. I'm generating these thoughts.
Yeah.
And also I think I've gotten a lot better. This is what allows me to stay informed. Because people sometimes forget, when I commentate, I don't use the engine almost ever unless I'm forced to. The vast majority of chess.com commentary I did, we would turn on the engine a couple of times per show to verify important positions. All of the analysis that I do, when I commentated with Anish Giri, I was able to hold my own in analysis, which is why I thought that everybody would just know that when I analyze, I show my tactical level. So this misunderstanding would be cleared up very quickly, how wrong I was. But I have to stay informed, right? Because I don't play over the board chess. I have to train somehow. And so blitz is what allows me to stay informed. But it's a little bit toxic. Yeah, I think I've gone overboard. And I think I am a procrastinator. And so my default when I don't want to do something like taxes or, hope nobody from the IRS watches this podcast or I'll get a knock on the door. All I ever ask is that certain people leave me alone, right? I don't ask anything of them. Let me play in peace. Stop sticking your nose in my business. And some people will respond, well, this is the price you pay for being a public figure. Well, then you're just no, it's not. I didn't agree to this price. Right? There wasn't a price tag that was attached to it saying terms and conditions. You agree that people will be all up in your business, monitoring how long you're playing for. Did Danya sleep? What is your schedule like? What is your rating? No, I just want to play in peace. I'm primarily a chess player, not a content creator, not a public figure. I am just a chess player. I'm a lover of the game.
But you still have the passion for streaming, and you're not creating content, but you are a streamer, which is some of the content creation.
Well, I'm a chess player who streams, not a streamer who plays chess.
Right. Yeah, I always wonder how you, Levy, introverts, how you guys, where's your passion coming from for being on camera when you obviously have to. Like, you were passionate about the game, so you're streaming your game, but you were still proud of your community, of your achievement, right? So
I'm proud and I'm honored to have the community that I do.
but you're not like passionate about streaming, right? You see where I'm going?
I mean, I love the.
You're
the
pretty
right-
successful. Sorry, you're pretty successful as a streamer for someone who kind of hates the public eye.
Yeah, I mean, people are surprised. It's always funny to me when people find out I'm an introvert, because to me, it's, you know me, like on day one, you found out I'm an introvert, right? It's obvious if you interact with me in person.
Yeah, and
I assume, right?
Yeah, and the reason I bring this up is that like I got the same shock about Levy when I was like, he's like the biggest chess YouTuber, over 6 million subscribers, and he absolutely, just like you, he hates when people recognize him in public, for example, and stuff like that. So how do you guys, like in general, I was just curious, how do you guys like find this passion? Let's say the passion that I have, I guess you might have as well, for like being on camera and creating, like being in the eyeballs. You're an extrovert, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I mean, for me, streaming is more of a way of justifying my newfound passion for chess rather than like trying to like publicize myself, you know? And I think for you, it was like, well, I don't know. Like,
No, saying like it's a way of justifying my addiction to blitz. Like the thing is, like, there was a point, like streaming, the streaming fads changed over time. Dina, you probably already streamed them. Like at some point, collabs were super popular. Everyone was collaborating. Sub battles were super popular.
You hate that shit.
I really do.
Yeah, like Pogchamps, like this.
It's just boring. It's just like not interesting to me.
Yeah, it's not inspiring. Like Pogchamps is the thing that you probably like have the like you want to just shoot yourself. Right?
The moment with Charlie and XTC.
You know, when I said it'd be fun to see a checkmate in 4 earlier, I was joking. It wasn't real. We're listening to Moist Critical right now.
Daniel Naroditsky is a prophet. He said immediately that XQC will likely go with the Scotch Open, and he did. So I had the counterplay.
Charlie was the highlight of it because he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And he treated me really well, and he worked his ass off. Like, I have nothing but the best things to say about him, and that was the highlight. It wasn't easy for me to interact with his community because I had to be an extrovert. I had to play a certain role and cuss a lot and try to be cool, and that's hard for a chess player to try to be cool. But in terms of like having to commentate Pogchamps, dude, I really want people to not misunderstand me. It's like I not just respect, but I greatly admire celebrities, people who don't have to take up chess, but subject themselves to being a beginner, subject themselves to blundering pieces in the public eye. It's not easy. It's never easy. And so like I have nothing but admiration for the people involved. This is a me problem, just to be clear. But when I'm commentating a Pogchamps game and the first player plays A3, Rook A2, or like C3, Queen C2, and he's like, I'm playing the Tommy Pickles, I'm playing the Blue Sky defense, and they like, I just named this opening, and then I have to be like, yeah, the Blue Sky, that's super cool. It's like, it doesn't resonate with me, please.
The cow.
Yes.
Sorry, go on.
The cow, like Anna Kremlin?
No, it's in the same.
region.
I just wanted to add.
Like, to me, I understand that this is what makes chess fun for people, and I'm not trying to like take that away, God forbid, because there was a moment, Dina, the like whole thing about elitism in chess, gatekeeping in chess. Do you remember that? Like,
this is when I started, but I just wanted to add, I don't think it's a you problem. I'm totally on your page, and I this is like why we're here. And it's interesting because Emily, you are more into that category of players, but you understand we're just trying to be objective here. For someone who is like the best at that industry, it's like you should be annoyed.
In my experience teaching beginners, which is not extensive, I think people, they don't want to feel like you are at their level. They want to feel like they are at your level. So to me, it's not natural to artificially pretend that like, well, look, like John just hung his queen. I hang my queen all the time. Like, that's totally normal. A little bit of honesty. You don't have to clown on someone. Oh, look at how bad they are. Like, they suck at chess. Why am I sitting here commentating these idiots? You can say that as a joke, but there is a way to do it where you're like, okay, white hung his queen. This is something beginners do. If you're a beginner watching this, you need to focus on not hanging your pieces. you can make an educational moment out of this, but you don't need to pretend that like, I also do this. I think that when people tune in, I watch a lot of basketball. When I'm watching, like a basketball commentator, they're objectively breaking down what's happening, right? Like they're not pretending like if Steph Curry, my favorite player, he throws the ball away, they're like, Steph Curry throws the ball away, that's totally okay. That's what NBA players are supposed to do, give the ball to the other team. So like this emphasis on oversimplification, I feel like it's going at it from the wrong end. And the whole Pogchamps thing, like, it's just not my cup of tea. And that's why I always just ended up playing blitz. Like, that's just like all I do. And I do the speed run. I keep it very simple. But I just wasn't interested in doing like other games because I know what I'm interested in. I know what I like. And I know what my stream likes. I mean, my community is awesome. The guys and gals who come into my stream regularly, even the trolls, we have a camaraderie. Like, I feel like I'm getting my social fill, but on my own terms. I'm sitting alone in my house. This is the ideal, right? I get to not leave my home, which is my natural state of being, and also get this social interaction on my own terms, and I can leave when I want to, which is because I have a problem with this. I like parties I can just like never bring myself to leave, even when I want to. The Irish goodbye. Like, I have to go to the bathroom, and then you never return.
Well, that's usually how
So I do like streaming. I like the experience, but as long as I'm playing blitz.
Yeah. I think this is maybe a good transition into, you're talking about commentary, and obviously, like, you're probably not going to be commentating a Pogchamps anytime soon, but also you announced recently that you're taking a step back from commentating for chess.com.
Wait, I did? Just kidding. Yeah.
So, do you want to elaborate a little bit on like why you decided on that and
What happened after a month later?
Yeah, I feel like this was, people might have like Naroditsky drama fatigue. Like, this guy is like...
This is what we're here. Everybody who's going to come, I promise you, everybody who's going to come watch this episode are going to be interested in your life.
And by the way, like, I'm very passionate about setting the records. And when we do talk about like the Kramnik stuff, like, one of the points that I have not made to date is like, I want to show people that I pulled out all the stops to try to prevent this from spilling out into the public eye. Like, at every stage I went above and beyond trying to confine this to like, to like essentially erect a barrier to dissolve this before it spills out, and failed. The chess.com commentary like announcement happened after I left Weisenhouse, beautiful Weisenhouse, early. I did a stream where I like briefly talked about some of the reasons that I left early. It was an amicable departure. It was not a fly-by-night, like, 2 a.m. escape.
The Irish escape.
The Irish escape, exactly. So, like, I know it's very weird to people that I talked it out with the organization. They treated me very well. They were understanding, and I tip my hat to them for engaging with me in a very mature professional fashion. So there were no hard feelings remaining. Because the announcement coincided with that, people assumed that something happened that I wasn't talking about, and it traumatized me so much that I quit commentary permanently. No, okay? It wasn't totally unrelated. Like, I guess I should like share my thoughts on Freestyle to explain what I just said. But mostly this was a buildup of things that I had experienced in like my last year or so of commentary. And the biggest one has nothing to do with chess.com, who by and large like treated me incredibly well. And, like, I'll talk about Danny specifically, but there was no big smoking gun. Okay, like, if people are expecting that, then they can like close out of the video, because there was no one fight that I had or something that happened, I promise. There were smaller things, and the biggest one was just like my health. I feel like, okay, I don't want to seem like I'm constantly bitching and whining. I feel like I'm getting to that mindset, but I talked about this with Robert. When you commentate for 8 hours, like, a basketball game takes 3 hours. Commentating for 8 hours straight, it is not natural. Like, I think that we do it well, so people just assume that this is fun. Like, this is, like, you get into the habit of doing it. But I don't know if people fully understand, like, being on camera for 8 straight hours, talking the entire time without so much as a single, like, moment of losing your train of thought, or just like needing to fucking nap on the floor, which I did plenty of times. The commentary schedule had been brutal, and I'm getting old. Well, older. I'm not old, but I'm not 21 anymore. So doing the World Championship with a start time of 4 a.m. was like the craziest thing I've ever done. Also, I did the Paris, what was it, the Speed Chess Championship Finals?
Early September.
Yeah, you were there?
No, I wasn't, but I was watching you, obviously.
Okay, so...
Yeah, Levy was there, and
I was commentating
you had
with
the same
Robert.
bathroom with the audience, and everybody
Yes,
was...
and I also got locked in the bathroom once. It was a short break. There was a bathroom problem there in Paris. They led me to this like staff bathroom on the 3rd floor of this like weird gaming space that it was happening at, and I couldn't re-enter. I was locked in the bathroom. The lock wouldn't turn. And I was banging on the door, like the reception wasn't great in the bathroom, and finally like Levy helped me. But the lock was broken, it wasn't me.
How long were you in there?
Like 3-4 minutes, but I heard the countdown through my earpiece, like 30 seconds. Daniel, like, stop, like,
peeing.
Finish peeing already. Like, just get it out of there, your freaking system, man. And I was like, yeah, I was panicking.
Damn.
But that wasn't the main thing.
God bless Levy.
God bless Levy. God bless Levy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Bogle Yubov. So, yep, lost my train of thought. The tournament and chess.com pulled out all the stops.
Yeah.
They worked their fucking ass off. Danny, like, I gotta give it to him. That man is a very hard worker.
What is his baby, right? Chess.com.
I mean, he has 4 kids. He's a family man. You know, he's a very sweet person, and I'm really tired of the hate. It gets old. People need to stop hating on like Danny the man. Okay, chess.com has its flaws as an organization, but I have nothing but positive things to say about Danny. Like, do I get annoyed at his like corporate nanny voice and he thinks he's like a PR genius sometimes? Yes, but like cut the man some slack. I feel like when you observe someone with his kids and with his wife and with like in like daily settings, which I've had the pleasure of doing with Danny, you realize like what kind of a man he is. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. And it's just really pathetic to me to like hate on people who, like if you interact with them for a single day, you realize they're not worthy of this hate. So let me put that out there. There's not gonna be like a but he actually sucks. No. The tournament in Paris was probably the longest 3 days of my life, commentary-wise. Like I don't know how we pulled it off. Because A, there was a live audience. You know that. There was no guard or anything. It's like people would come up to us like during the show. Just like not even realizing that we're live. There was an echo, like the live audience saw a screen and we heard what they heard. So the entire time I was commentating, I heard my own voice with like a 2-second delay. And it was also like 90 degrees. We were sweating balls. Like it was really grueling. And my deal was I would take a break after the Paris tournament. As the tournament's going, as the SEC finals are finishing, I get a message, can you please do the second half of the Olympiad? And I'm like, I can't, like I really need a break. Like I cannot do this anymore. But of course I can't say no. Dina, you know this. I have a pathological inability to say no. I did it. Robert did the fucking whole thing. I did just the second half of the Olympiad. And afterward, I had a really rough few days. I worked myself to complete exhaustion. Like I slept for 24 hours, which I know is not normal. Like it's bad. It's my body telling me I can't keep doing this. And I realized that like, because the product that I put out is consistently, I think, pretty good, people grow accustomed to it. So you become a slave to your own excellence, essentially. I'm not calling myself excellent.
Well, you are clearly at the commentary, but it's very it's very honorable of you to be so humble.
I appreciate it, but I really did work my tail off for a few years, and I just need a break. Like I need to stop running on the treadmill for a bit. And I announced my like quote unquote retirement. People are putting too much stock into that. Like I didn't think it through that much. The point was, I wanted to set the expectations that I might not be commentating as regularly as I had been the last few years. I'm doing this thing with Robert now, and I'm not gonna lie, that's been a part of the frustration I've had with chess.com. It's like, I said very early on, I want to commentate with Robert. Like, it's easier for me. We do a good job. That's what people like. Why can't we set this up? I also mentioned like Amon's name. And it just seemed like that it didn't go through. because I feel like I do a pretty good job of finding chemistry with other commentators, but it's so much harder when my co-commentator is like asleep or not experienced. And I feel like I've earned the right to at least have a say in who I commentate with.
Or like a much lower skilled chess player.
Yeah, but hashtag elitist gatekeeper, so I don't know if I want to.
No, just in general, without mentioning the names, like it's pretty normal for you to be intellectually interested by commentating with this expert and not with that like up and coming.
Yeah, but then that's
player.
maybe there's a good segue, but that ties into the discussion of like what should commentary in chess look like, right? Because there's these two schools of thought now.
Yeah. Oh,
It should be Naroditsky and Hess talking about like move 20 of Najdorf, or B, like we want chess to be on ESPN. Like screw that. We need to break things down at like the very beginner level. And it seems like there's these two extremes. And with the greatest respect, I think Freestyle espouses the second theory of commentary. And again, like this is not a question of I'm right and they suck and I know better, but respectfully, like I don't think I'm able to change my commentary style to like accommodate that particular approach philosophically.
So I guess let's talk a little bit more about Freestyle. The commentary announcement happened following
Right at the end of the last round of the Weisenhaus Grand Slam Freestyle Tour Chess Tournament Fisher Random event.
right.
960.
Did I get that right? Yeah, exactly. Just why are there like three names and nobody ever knows? Like you're stepping on hot coals. Like some people like 960, but then you also then have to say Freestyle. It's like ELO rating. So that
And wait until it's
confusion.
called World Chess Championship.
CCT, GCT, World Grand Championship, Earth Championship Slam. The naming conventions in chess are like messed up. Sorry.
This is gonna
go
be
ahead.
no. This is gonna be such a great reel. Sorry, this is gonna be amazing. I'm just gonna.
This is gonna be spicy.
So I loved everything you said on Freestyle though, but I do want to kind of get back to Hess and you doing, because whatever you need to like, it's curious to know what you guys are up to.
Well, of course, like this is a evolving situation, and we're like deciding based on people's reactions. To tie up like me and chess.com, I'm not going to pretend that like I'm thrilled with everything that's happened the last year. I also am under no illusions. I overslept World Championship commentary. You remember we were at dinner, Dina, with you included, I think, the night before I overslept. Do you remember that? This is a Nepo versus Ding. Yes.
Yeah, we went to dinner that night. Oh, wow. You overslept the next. I mean, yeah, the point is like the amount of times you overslept, the commentary is like probably you need more than two hands.
How many how many commentaries do you think I have overslept? Let's say by fully, like not arrived late to the call, but like fully overslept. How many do you think?
Let's ask Emily.
4.
Okay. Do you know?
Like more than 10.
2.5.
Okay.
There was a World Championship round, and 2.5 is unacceptable. The number should be 0. Let me just put that out there. I will also say for the World Championship, it was 6 rounds in a row. Start time, I think, like 4 a.m. And who agreed to do the first 6 rounds? It was me. But I understand people think, well, just go to sleep like at 7 p.m. as if like any chess player could ever do that.
Like stewards,
Wait.
right? Or pilots.
Yeah, and the last day, like it wraps around. Like I was so tired that I was like this weird state. I came home from dinner and I woke up in bed the following day and I was like, wait, why is it light outside? Like it shouldn't be light outside. That means it's like, what time is it? And I look and it's like noon. The round is finishing. Through like the biggest stroke of luck, it was a day where it was me, Geary, and Howell commentating. If it was just me and Anish, like that would have been a lot worse. So that was one time. Then there was like a round of Tata Steel that I overslept by 40 minutes.
Which is like not a big deal.
Yeah, I woke up like again, I finished it, and I think and there was once I showed up as the show was starting. I was commentating with Jan Ludwig. It was a smaller event. To my knowledge, that's it. Now, given that I've done 4 like years of commentary, I do have a reputation. Dina, maybe you guys can tell me from the outside. Like, I feel like people put a lot of emphasis on like me oversleeping or not being reliable. And it's true. Like, this has been one of my biggest problems, like lack of professionalism. I can be uncommunicative or, like chess.com has put up with a lot of my bullshit. I acknowledge that and feel a lot of gratitude. I have improved. But when I say that I will do a commentary, I always did it. And I stepped in at the last second with impossible hours many, many, many times. And I have commentated while sick. The last round of the GCT in Toronto, I woke up with a horrible sore throat I couldn't swallow. I walked to like the store, got like ibuprofen or whatever, and I fucking forced myself to commentate. Like, I've never missed a commentary, not once, due to illness or any reason. I have been on vacation and found internet. Like, to me, this is the most important thing, is showing up to my job, because I take it that seriously. Like, I owe it to the chess world and to the chess community who've treated me much better than I deserve to give them my A+ game. But unfortunately, like, I need to take a step back because, like, life is long, hopefully, and I need to like pace myself, and I need to like pause this chapter and start the next chapter. And with Robert, like, we're basically commentating in a very casual fashion. We did the American Cup. We want to do a few tournaments and see how it goes. And if it goes well, we might do our own little, two-man commentary project. We're not competing with chess.com. We're not trying to steal their thunder. It's like, I can already see people putting labels on it. Like, ooh, they like dropped off of chess.com. Look at them doing their own rival. Like, we're two GMs who are watching a tournament. May we do that without like further implications? Do you feel like I'm...
It's incredible to me that you...
I don't know.
No, it's actually incredible to me that you both guys find this passion in commentating for free for your own like passion project, and like maybe something will happen out of this, maybe not, but that shows how much you actually care about this thing. And then whatever happened for both of you, because Robert also have been like AFK or MIA lately, right, from chess.com. So it's definitely, it's genuinely incredible to see that how much you just enjoy doing that.
Yeah, but his his relationship is totally his business, and he I make that very clear on my stream. Like, if he wants to talk about it, he can. But just like me, he wants to be left alone. Again, like, why do I like commentating with Robert so much? We're very close friends. It feels like I'm at a coffee shop with the laptop open, or I used to like watch tournament coverage with my brother on ICC. It was just the games coming in, like Kramnik and Hans in 2006. I remember
the toilet gate.
Even Kasparov. I remember 2004 toilet gate. The first two games of that match, we would wake up with my brother. We'd lie in bed. We'd watch the entire game. And back then, like, the GMs would be kibitzing, right? They'd be typing in the chat, and we ate that shit up. So I love chess. Like, I love analyzing with a good friend, with someone that I trust. We're funny, maybe to like 1% of people.
No, you are.
I love driving Robert crazy with my puns. And when we do it together, at least for now, it's a garage operation. It's less formal. I can skip a commentary if I'm traveling, right? Like, there is a component to chess.com commentary, which is like, I have to make sure my internet is good. And like, if something goes wrong, that's one of the hardest aspects of commentary. It's like handling everything is like a trash fire and going to shit, but we have to put on a brave face and keep the chat entertained and smooth everything over while like messages are coming in on like 3 different devices. We don't have to experience that. And we're not going to do this forever if like people don't express interest. Of course, we hope that if we get financial, let me not beat around the bush, like if we get financial support and people show with their wallets and with their mouse and keyboards a desire to see us like become a regular thing, we'll consider it. But I feel like it's hard now, Dina, to like express your plans, because people seem to just turn everything into like a competition or rivalry. And I just feel like there's so many landmines that you can step on now. And it wasn't like this before. And I just want to get back to enjoying chess and emphasizing the games from a tournament, not the drama surrounding it.
Yeah. So if you guys want to see Hess and Danya commentating on a regular basis, definitely
Those wallets.
Well, yeah.
Get those wallets ready.
Yeah, skip the comments.
Like and subscribe. Smash that subscribe
Yeah.
button, ladies and gentlemen. ExpressVPN, NordVPN, Surfshark, yeah, BetterHelp.
I was actually telling Emily yesterday, I was asking Emily like what's driving you in creating your like chess content, and like now you're doing it as a hobby, and I was just expressing this theory, like just thinking of actually you guys and your example is how like the same thing that you like doing, chess commentary, streaming chess, right? Creating chess content, well, like compared to when you do it for a living, like when you are hired by someone, it's your job versus when you're doing for yourself, your passion, how much that actually affects,
Very good.
how much you like how much that actually affects the way you
was that last
treat
part?
it,
I didn't hear you. You didn't repeat it enough times.
the way you treat the thing, and you actually enjoy it. You don't feel the pressure
How much it
because
affects me.
yeah. Can you see where I'm going, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you take your passion and turn it into a job, it changes the framework, I think, in your mind. For a lot of people, at least, like, people I know who have gone on to, like, do their passion. And, I mean, you're doing yours, right? Well...
It's both, right? It's weird for us chess content creators. Like, yes, we get to do what we love. So there's aspects of it, I don't want to put words in your mouth. There's parts of it where, like, days when I'm like, I love what I do. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. And then other days when I'm, like, working on a Sunday night, I'm like, my brother's chilling right now. Actually, he has to wake up at 6 a.m., but on Saturdays he gets to, like, relax. He works a lot harder than me, and, like, I have a lot of role models in my life, and I am beyond lucky to do what I do.
So you announced that you were taking a step back from chess.com commentary, following Freestyle. So I think that's a great transition into the topic of Freestyle 960, Fisher Random.
All right.
Bison House.
Yeah.
My knight's on A1, and why can't it be on B1?
Yes.
Why two bishops cannot be on the same color?
Yeah, so maybe if you want to tell us about your opinions of Freestyle
Oh
or...
gosh.
Yeah.
Unfiltered,
Let me get
Danya.
the hot sauce out.
Let's go.
I mean, people who watch my stream, they know that, like, I used to call myself a Fisher Random hater. This is way back when. So I want to make it very clear, first of all, like, I respect the concept of Fisher Random. I think that, okay, I promise the spice will come. The idea that, like, there exists a variant in which everyone's clueless from move one, it has its moments. Like, I play every Freestyle Friday. The last time I beat Magnus, I beat Hans, I beat Mami Jarv, and I'm like, wait, this is awesome. Like, there are moments when I can really appreciate the beauty of the new tactical patterns that this game creates. And anybody who loves chess, like, should respect and tip their hat to the fact that it's actually really, really cool that, like, you could rearrange the pieces and the game changes in such an essential way. Not only is that, like, cool in and of itself, it shows you how elegant the arrangement of pieces in real chess is, because there's, like, I feel like it's not a subjective matter, that there is an elegance and a beauty, a symmetry to chess that stems from the 960th arrangement of the pieces. So, I'm no longer a Fisher Random hater. Anybody who's watching this who feels passionate about it, I'm not a threat to the development of Freestyle, and I'm on the same team, I promise. But I'm like the crotchety coach who's like, I want to point out a few things that, like, I want to bring you back to reality. Because I feel like in chess, the chess community has this weird, like, it's almost like split personality, where the conversations that happen behind the scenes, I'm not the first person, Dina, you know this, between GMs and like, power players is so different from what they say on camera. And part of this is normal. This always happens in every industry. But this has become, like, almost like to a pathological extent. Like, people will say the exact opposite. And I think we need to, like, normalize the environment where it's okay to be honest. It doesn't make you a hater. And it doesn't mean that you're going to then suddenly antagonize everybody who has a slightly different opinion. So having said that, there's a few issues that I have with freestyle chess, starting with its name, the fact that you don't even know how to refer to it, because Freestyle is also a company, right? So that has to be clarified. But these problems, when taken together, I think greatly limit the potential of freestyle chess to play the kind of role and to occupy the kind of space. I'm not saying that Magnus or Jan Henrik are claiming that it will replace classical. I know they're not, right? But even for freestyle chess to one day be at the same level, I think is an unrealistic goal right now. I don't think that should be the goal because I think it's unrealistic to an extent that will actually hurt its development. Why do I think so? So are you following my logic so far?
Yeah, I was just thinking, are you sure they're not claiming, they're not claiming, but they're also saying that the freestyle is the future of chess?
No, I want to be charitable to, I feel like they're wishy-washy, but I think Magnus has clarified, listen, he's made his entire career in classical. Who am I to put words in his mouth and say, Magnus has done more for the development of classical chess, not only that I ever will, but than arguably anyone in chess history. He has moved the game forward, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. To take one sentence of his and make it oh, this is Magnus's philosophy. He spits on classical chess. That's crazy to me. But I feel strongly about this. I'm not operating from the assumption that the freestyle people are a threat to classical chess. Would you agree with that? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to claim that. Now, first of all, there's a weird kind of sweeping under the rug of what might be the main problem here, which is that right now, as it stands, freestyle is benefiting the top players, right? 27, 30 and above. Fantastic. Amazing. I think everybody in the chess community is very happy for all of these players, the Arjun Ergaisis of the world and Fedoseyevs of the world, and even Hikaru's of the world, who we feel that they work their tails off. Everybody does.
Vincent Keimers of the world.
Yeah, listen, these $200,000, I don't know of anybody who feels anything but happiness for Vincent, who's kind of been in the shadows. He's struggled. He had a chance to beat Magnus in the World Cup, and he just keeps at it. And I think everybody's happy to see him finally get rewarded for it. He played fantastic freestyle chess, and he is deservedly proud of his achievement. Okay, so he's when is the hot sauce coming? I promise it's coming.
No, it's just, yeah. But thinking. But everything you're saying is making total sense.
Yeah, but the thing is, yes, I'm happy for the top players, but at the same time, let's not pretend that there's a trickle-down effect. That seems to be the implication that, okay, the riches will trickle down to the masses. Well, first of all, they haven't even trickled down to the commentators yet. Okay? And it is not a privilege for a commentator. It is, let's say, a mutual privilege at best for, let's say, me to travel to Weisenhaus or me to travel to Paris. And there is no question that Jan Henrik is sparing no expense to offer the best conditions for the players. That's not bullshit. That's not on the surface. He's truly trying. He's truly pouring his efforts and his heart into it. And this is a whole outfit. It's not just one person. There's this, Thomas Mueller, I guess the chief financial officer. There are serious people working their asses off trying to make this thing happen. And I don't want to sit here on the couch just sweep it aside as if I recognize the effort. Yes. Not only is it not trickling down to the let's say cast and crew that are on the shadows, but regular GMs. Okay, there's the Freestyle Open in I was in Karlsruhe, right? Great.
Karlsruhe, you mean?
Karlsruhe.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Grand K Open.
And I think that is the future of freestyle. Once or twice a year, there should be an open like that. I'll be watching it. I think it's a very innovative idea to have the open and the Fischer Random event run in parallel. But your average 1700 is not going to benefit, definitely not benefit from freestyle. And one of the big reasons why, Ellie, is that I think Alexander Shimanov made this point. How do you develop training materials specifically for Fischer Random? It's impossible. Mm-hmm. In order to become good at 960, you have to essentially just study chess. And then there's some sort of relationship where, of course, it's not unrelated. If you're a GM at regular chess, you're going to be good at Fischer Random for the most part. But it's not a one-to-one relationship either. So I think that Wesley So has a course on, do you know anything about there's a
Wesley did a chessable, yeah. So Wesley, I think James Canty. I don't know why I saw James Canty photo in that with that course, but definitely Wesley So maybe they both
Calculation
have
over everything LeBron-Aronian.
yeah, they both have like courses on freestyle. But yeah, actually, like I was just thinking, Emily, like you were literally that potential clientele that freestyle would be trying to reach to. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you were like as an up and coming chess player, but like how do you not get lost into it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that exploring variants is really in my best interest when I'm trying to just like improve at the regular game, which is what like is readily available, you know, in tournaments and all of that. Like,
And it's right answer, Emily. You're allowed to continue now. Like related to that, name a free game of freestyle that's been played. Period. That you find memorable.
yeah.
Can you name any game and describe it?
Like a mortal game, yeah, or something.
Now, were there such games? Maybe, but it's much harder to create such a game.
You wouldn't remember it because like the piece placement is so random at first.
Yes, and I will talk for in a moment about like the contradiction between, I think, the vision of freestyle to make commentary accessible to the masses. Okay, but if you're doing that, the first thing to do is like, let's play a form of chess that most people understand. Mm-hmm. And I'll get to that. But also, my students, like I work with a couple of very talented kids. I had a lesson in Weisenhaus where as a warm-up, I gave a few positions from freestyle. And I spent like 20 minutes explaining how to castle. Like to one of my students, he's 2100, like, and he was like, he's like, wait, can I castle kingside? And I suddenly couldn't remember because there's arrangements where like, if your rooks are in F1 and G1, like, I don't know which way you can castle with what rook.
Aren't both rooks are supposed to be between the king?
I don't think so. No.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, for example, if the rooks are on, get your Advil ready.
Yeah.
If the rooks are like on E1 and H1.
Wow.
To castle, and even saying castle kingside, castle queenside, that was a big problem during commentary. I was saying castles to the east, castles to the west. Because Peter likes to say that jokingly. How to castle?
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought the rules
You
were
didn't
the
think
two.
this is one of the arrangements? Can we look this up?
Yeah, I thought the two rooks were supposed to be as a must between the king.
That would make sense because, like, it's funny always when you can castle on the first move.
Yeah, that's like
That's
you
a
can
funny
put it like.
situation. Usually it's a big mistake, actually.
Yeah.
Anyways, even with the rooks are between the king, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even explaining the rules takes some time. Referring to castles is difficult because the king side can be the queen side. Like, that loses its meaning if the queen is like in Timbuktu, or it's like a moving target. It's like whack-a-mole. Where's the queen? Where's the queen? So there's people proposing ways to call it. There's no names for openings. And this, to me, is a really important point. People always assume that the prevalence of opening theory is a negative, right? That, another Italian, another Berlin, like another 30 moves of theory. First of all, let's not exaggerate. In the World Championship, even, like Gukesh Dang, most of the games were in fresh territory by like move 7. There has been a trend of moving out of opening theory into fresh territory. Look at the AlphaZero Stockfish games. There's so much to explore. But the main thing is, from a commentary perspective, when there's a Sicilian Najdorf, I'm able to look up the games. Boom, I see that in 1913, Miguel Najdorf played a game against Akiba Rubinstein. And by the way, Akiba Rubinstein like owned a pizza restaurant. He didn't. And like one time, Alexander Alekhine ate at that pizza restaurant. This, to me, is what makes the broadcast interesting to like my mom or my high school friend. It's like I was watching you talk about like frickin' pizza toppings. Like, weren't you commentating a chess tournament? My favorite is when like I do chess like commentary for 6 hours. I insert one story and like people in the chat will be like, why is Daniel yapping? Like, when are we talking about the chess?
Oh my gosh. I was gonna say, like, I think I can only imagine how challenging it is for you trying to commentate not challenging, but like the opening parts of freestyle where it's like you don't have these.
It's the history, the culture, right?
Yeah.
The narrative. Every game is a story. This is what makes it interesting. It's a story with a beginning, middle, and end. And in the beginning, you weave the narrative. Oh, this is this kind of opening that gives the game this flavor. I'm not saying it's insurmountable. Freestyle is cool because it's new, right? And people get to watch the commentators also try to like figure out what's going on. And I think it is relatable but with the greatest respect to Freestyle, I think they are overplaying the card, to get back to what I said earlier of like, you want to lift people up, not to like pretend that you, like, it's not that I totally don't know what's going on. Like I have a better, let's say, compass than the average Joe.
Sure.
Do I have access to like an electronic device?
Yeah, but this board is good, right?
Let me grab my phone actually, because
Yeah.
I have an article link if you. So may I quickly read? Okay, so so there was an article that has an interview with the Take CEO. Now Magnus is involved both in Take and Freestyle, and I think it represents, like, perfectly represents a perspective that I think is like a straw man. It's what I would call, I think, a zombie lie is a good phrase I've heard. Just something that used to be maybe true, but isn't anymore, and yet it's still like repeated by people. Again, with respect, Mr. Christensen, he's the CEO. He says the following. I'm reading from an article from .esports. Viewing chess from a new angle is the subheading. Okay, so he says, Christensen, there are basic rules of chess that everyone understands. Christensen says, moving the conversation beyond the controversial evaluation bar. You want to capture pieces, promote your pawns, etc. Perfectly valid options for a less experienced audience. The bigger part is the commentary. Christensen is dismissive of the traditional approach, saying, quote, they're basically explaining chess from a grandmaster to a grandmaster, suggesting an example where they wouldn't discuss a player possibly winning a piece because they know the opponent wouldn't blunder the relevant move. Quote, you can make it more exciting by saying, will Magnus hang his queen now? Because if this was a beginner that played this game, they would have been likely to do so, end quote. While Christensen's example, this is the article author pushing back on this, while Christensen's example does conjure the image of a Formula One commentator screaming that Max Verstappen might randomly crash out in an empty corner at any time, the importance of a lay audience is undeniable. So is the notion that you cannot keep it all buttoned up for a 6-hour marathon broadcast. He points to the Tour de France, its studio segments, the statistics and the history they can call back to, and the obvious parallels this has to chess. I think not seeing the irony that this is all only related to like regular chess. So this grandmaster to grandmaster commentary, I mean, I do take it a little bit personally because like very early on in my commentary career, I feel like my commentary was perhaps too advanced, but Robert and I, you can let me know, Dina, maybe I'm wrong. We take great pains, I think, to make the commentary educational first and foremost. Now, yes, if you have just learned the rules of chess yesterday, it's maybe like there's nothing that we could do. And even then, like we try to tell stories and stuff. That's where you make those people feel welcome. But saying that Magnus might blunder a queen, like I can never bring myself to do that. Or, you know I talked about this on stream, not using chess notation. So instead of knight d2, the horsey like crosses the Cape of Good Hope, you know, moving past, flowing down the Mississippi River, and shifting his weight toward the geographic center of the board. Or I could say knight d2 because people can suck it up and learn the chess coordinate system, which is just a coordinate system. There's nothing to do with chess, right? It's just a graph. So
You're laughing, but that's like the motto of Take, the new
Freestyle, yeah. Or
Take. I remember when they appeared first before Freestyle, that was their motto. Like they're building this new app, new way of following chess players, chess game. I think as far as I understood, the business idea behind is for it to develop a fantasy game, right? Mm-hmm. And they specifically want to re-educate the chess kind of like commentary world and the broadcasting of chess games as of do not refer to the notation. That was their first video when they released it, remember?
Yeah, and it's like, again, I keep coming back to this, like beginners are not idiots. Like they know Magnus won't blunder his queen and they will get offended. I would click out of a broadcast if I was a beginner and I heard something like that because like, who do you take me for? Like that's not entertaining. If Magnus does blunder a queen, which happens once in a lifetime, then you scream because it's genuine, like we're surprised. There's a famous moment of Robert like predicting Magnus's move, which is a bishop blunder, right? And this is the great thing about commentating with someone you're friends with. We have each other's back. Like if Robert suggests a move and it's a blunder, usually it's the other way around, I won't say, Robert, you're stupid. Like, why'd you just blunder your bishop? Like, I'll say, it's a good idea in general, but in this specific position, there's a knight on a6. And then Robert will laugh and be like, it's okay, Danya, you can say it's a blunder. And then Magnus makes the same move. And that's epic. This, idea of traditional commentary, can you name someone who commentates like that? Like, that would be a grandmaster, like all we do is rattle off lines. Like, I'm sorry, but like in order to build something new, you have to respect and understand what exists. Like before you take down the system, you have to ask yourself, maybe the existing system isn't as shitty as I think it is. And I don't think it's the right approach to pretend like there's nobody who's mastered the art of appealing to a wide variety of audiences. Is there an issue with like sometimes going overboard? Is there a need to incorporate a bigger, let's say, cross-section? Absolutely. And I think Freestyle is offering really interesting, innovative ideas, graphics. They're pushing the conversation forward, and I give them credit for that. But I think that this like emphasis on making it accessible, it's like lost its meaning because it's become so general. It's become like a chant. And then there's the rating question, which I think is maybe my most like passionate point.
Yeah, I just want to add like something we already discussed earlier about the different ways of commentary. You mentioned like there are these two directions of commentary. I actually, like for me, chess.com like completely switched the standards of chess commentary, because before like you guys appearing as a OGs and like mainstream of the commentary, for me the standards of chess commentary were all like official FIDE events.
Oh yeah.
And huge shout out to FIDE, and I personally commentated many of those events. I mean some, and that is actually the commentary where you fall asleep and as
boring. Yeah.
It's like where like commentators are grandmasters who go in deep variations of moves, and they just sit there and have this like a discussion of like 2 PhD chemical like
fine move 16 maybe somehow like knight g4. What to think about this move? Yeah, and then they'll say like, okay, maybe yes, but I think the white has slight advantage. Okay, maybe move 18 to try knight d4 instead, and okay, complicated position. Yeah.
Can you do the mirror with the
knight f4? Maybe white is better. I'm kidding.
No, that's exactly what I mean.
His English
and then
is phenomenal. Like for some,
Yeah.
he and Svidler are like because I love languages, so hats off to them. I don't mean to be. I never mean to mock the person, by the way. I hope that's clear to people. Like
of course,
I'm just
like this is all general. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, as like someone who is also like super interested as a viewer into commentary, but also like trying to do and improve at it myself. For me, the most innovative was actually like and I think it was like kind of like shout out to chess.com. I think they were kind of pushing into the narrative of like when, for example, when you and Robert are doing something, like talking about something, there is not a second until you pause. You always fill it up with words. And for me, this was like the revolution from that like standard over the board, like official tournaments, when like people are just sitting and thinking and like just going on and on with those lines, and then you guys come and you just make it dynamic, and that's the standard of like the commentary of chess.com. This is something that I took for myself and learned, right? And then here comes like take, here comes like freestyle, and they say that apparently you guys are too deep into the chess variations, and I'm like, for me it's like, if this is deep, then like, excuse me, like you do want to like follow the chess game, or you don't want to follow like
it seems almost like we're trying to do everything to de-emphasize the chess. Like, I'm sorry, but like the person who watches does have to appreciate the chess to some degree. Again, like I'm trying to be receptive of criticism. I can be guilty of like overdoing the lines, absolutely. And there's no right or wrong answer here. But I also think during the Dubov-Niemann match, I commentated in Russian with Shimanov.
Yeah.
I was pretty proud of the way that turned out. There were some tech problems. We couldn't make any moves on the analysis board. We were just commentating verbally, and I think people really liked it. Like, there were no variations, or very few variations, right? We were just narrating the action. And my proudest commentary was with Leko, World Championship, because I was really, really nervous going in, because especially that final game, like the whole country of India was watching, which is extremely wholesome, like just the passion, but also scary. Like, what if I say something by accident? Like, at some point I said something like, oh, Gukesh will start the engine on the queen side. He'll start the attack. Is Danya suspicious of Gukesh?
Oh my god.
I'm like, oh my god. Was there a Reddit post? And I said at some point, like, oh, Gukesh doesn't turn on Stockfish. Stockfish turns on Gukesh. And the last moment where Ding makes the blunder, I was proudest of the fact that as a certified yapper, I laid off. We were silent for the whole moment to unfold, and it spoke for itself. The moment spoke for itself. I think everyone was happy. And I think we pulled it off. But, you know, my commentary with Peter is very high level because the World Championship isn't the whole point to spotlight the two most elite players in the world. Okay, I know Magnus isn't playing or whatever. So the commentary level, it changes based on the tournament you're commentating. You blitz commentary more. You play this knight to e4, keep your seatbelts fastened. Classical commentary, yeah. You're listening if you're kind of into the game. And you're also listening if you just like the personalities and you keep it on in the background. There's different ways of viewing. But in terms of like the future of chess, I think maybe even the biggest problem is the lack of a rating, which creates an immediate lack of motivation.
The lack of
Can
rating.
I expand on that, or am I?
Yeah, you mean for the freestyle, that there is no rating.
So I brought this up on stream and people like react like, whoa. The freestyle tournaments are not rated.
Yes.
There's no Fisher random rating and never has been. B, like there is no internal rating. And I made the point that like, as long as there's no rating, first of all, the players will be like, this is paradise. I get to play unrated events. And if I win, I get tons of money. Of course, they're going to like want this to continue, as they should. And they're going to focus on this. But people don't understand that at the top level, the players do well for themselves. Yes, 200K is really nice. Even for them, it's a lot of money. But what really motivates them is rating, classical rating. Right?
And they're getting invited by the classical rating. That's to the Fisher random events.
Yeah, like Fabiano mentioned that what is FIDE's greatest, like what makes FIDE, gives it the imprimatur of authority. I wanted to introduce the word shibboleth, which I'll do in a bit.
Yeah.
One of a shibboleth, I promise I'll tie this in. It's one of my favorite words. I learned it not so long ago.
What's the language origin?
It's English. I think it comes from like Sabbath. I don't know what the etymology is, but I think in the modern usage, it refers to, it's one of those words that's easier to illustrate than explain it. It refers to like a code word or a password that is used to indicate your membership in a social, usually like social group. That like, I'm one of the good guys. So for example, and it's like a platitude or a cliche, like, oh, silence is violence, or like, I don't know. So what does the shibboleth look like in the chess context? When we talk about Kramnik, cheating is an existential problem for chess. That's a big one. I actually wrote a few down, and now I don't have my notebook. Oh, there it is. FIDE, one of the shibboleths that seems to be like necessary to repeat is like FIDE is evil or FIDE is corrupt. Now, yes,
It's all Russians.
probably is at some level, but the people who are saying it don't actually know, like, how is FIDE corrupt? Like, name a scandal. Now, the fact of the matter is, yeah, like, is FIDE corrupt? I assume it is, like, but like, what even is FIDE? FIDE is not, like, when you say FIDE is corrupt, do you mean the people who are running it are corrupt or the organization itself? Like, have you heard people say this phrase?
Well, yeah, of course. But it's like,
Can you explain it to me?
like FIDE is corrupt. Oh yeah, this is like, they are all like Russians or like whatever post-Soviet countries, and they're all like
Who's
part
they?
of
Like the people who are
like people who work, who are in charge, like obviously, like everybody who works there, they all speak Russian, etc., etc. And
Not everybody, but okay.
yeah, many people, but
Okay.
and then obviously they get the sponsors from the other Russian companies and stuff like that, or like I don't know, Kazakh companies.
Yeah.
Like an easy example, like FIDE Online Arena. What is FIDE Online Arena?
It's a joke.
Yeah, well, amazing company that gave me a lot of spotlight when we
That's an
created.
amazing company.
No. World Chess is an amazing company that gave me a spotlight with all the Grand Prix interviews, which I am forever grateful. But what's the product of the FIDE Online Arena?
No,
It's an official online rating for FIDE.
There's like FIDE Online. I'm an AGM, Arena GM.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're like 16.
Yeah, you can get an Arena GM Grand title if you get like maybe 1600 or something.
My least favorite word in
online.
English is cringe.
You could be an Arena WGM, you can be Arena WCM, you could be, ACM or something.
So I think like FIDE, it would be more appropriate. Like FIDE does a lot of things that are cringe. I don't like this word. Or like the online arena, or like Emil, when he was talking about the dress code, I'm actually on FIDE's side in the Jeanski thing, but like overdoing it, tournament is held on Wall Street, and we're a proper organization. It's like, okay, like chill out, like, tone it down. Yes, we know you think you're awesome. So like definitely FIDE has a very high opinion of itself and has for a long time. There's problematic individuals that have been associated with it. George Makropoulos famously, Kirsan Elimzhinov obviously does not have the greatest track record in human rights in the Republic of Kalmykia that he was the president of. So, but like when people say FIDE is corrupt, like it is now used in the context of claiming that freestyle is the future. It will replace FIDE. This is, so I want to be very clear with people. I'm not like, I wasn't paid off by Emil for this interview. Like I have a good relationship with FIDE, but they are problematic in many ways, although we should be concrete in the way that we discuss it. However, what does FIDE bring to the table? There's two big things. World Championship title, right, has a tremendous amount of prestige associated with it universally because it has a history, right? That cannot be bought. That cannot be like created in any other way than through 80 years of history. And people might not realize this, but FIDE was created by players.
Yeah,
right?
by a grandmaster last year, right? No.
Ava.
Ava,
By a
yeah.
former world champion, right?
Yeah.
And before FIDE, it's fascinating to read the correspondence between Lasker and Capablanca, Steinitz and Zuckertort. They all got into fights because the players themselves had to find sponsors and organize their own world championship match. Right? Do we want that? Well, world championship now is also a controversial word.
Yeah, although there was also Kasparov and him organizing his own world championship, but yeah.
So there's a lot of history of that.
Yeah.
What is the point I'm trying to make? There is a second thing that people forget, which is rating. Right? FIDE rating has remained unbelievably robust as a fairly accurate reflection of your strength for 50 plus years now. Is there rating inflation? Absolutely. Is like, there's 1600 who just destroys me. Like, and I, get paired in round one with a kid and I know I'm like the underdog. Absolutely. Like, especially in Charlotte. Like there's kids in the US and some countries, there's kids who are like 1800 FIDE and their rating hasn't caught up to them.
Oh, totally. The kid that was playing the last round of Spring Open. Tommy Kozlik.
Oh, Kozlik, yeah.
Kozlik.
He's so adorable, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a 9-year-old who's like, you can see the kid, he just sacrificed an
fire in his
exchange
eyes.
in a second. Yeah, and he's
What's
like
his FIDE? Like,
1600, but like he's like, I think his skill is like at least 2200
So
maybe.
talented. I
Yeah,
know
he's definitely
father.
gonna be like, just whoever's watching, hear me out. Tommy Kozlik is gonna be a
So
future
cute,
world
but
champion.
He's a killer, he's a killer on the board.
Yeah, you got some videos with him. I definitely want to post at some point.
Is
Like,
that, I'm sure
Alex
Dad's
Botes
watching
played.
right now and
Yeah.
big shout out. What's up?
yeah, they're so amazing. He played both Alex and Andrea.
Man, it's like 1600. What's his USCF? Like, also not.
1800, I think,
Like,
something.
that's a thing that's happening more now with COVID. But by and
Was he
large,
born
it's not like there's people who are 2750 who suck.
Yeah,
Or like it's remained robust. And so it has remained the single biggest motivator. Like, why am I nervous before an OTB classical game? It's because I'm afraid to lose a rating, right? Why am I afraid to play in a tournament? Because I'm going to play 5 Tommy Kozleks and I'm going to be his rating and he's going to be my rating at the end of the tournament. So the problem is, literally when you're commentating freestyle tournament in Weisenhaus, we're using FIDE ratings in the broadcast.
yeah,
And you got to see the irony in that a little bit, right? Like,
yeah. With all the fight for the world
you're helping
championship
yourself
title.
to things that FIDE developed while simultaneously claiming that the reasons for its existence are questionable. So I feel like the ideal would be if there was some agreement where let's say freestyle tournaments were half rated, half classical rated. That would be interesting. And let me tell you, people would be a lot less chill about the Grand Tour events. There wouldn't be such a line out the door to play.
Yeah, would
Because
Magnus
suddenly
be
there's
so
something
excited to
going.
play with Vladimir Fedosiev or?
Yeah, like for Magnus, he doesn't have to work on his opening. He doesn't have to put his legacy, in question, nor should he. His legacy is unquestionable. So if he would retire, nobody would hold it against him. But he's found a way to now continue to play chess. Listen, I haven't seen Magnus play a single game of casual freestyle chess. If you seek a freestyle game or 960 game on chess.com, you might get Dingley Ren, who's 1500 right now, after 15 minutes of waiting. It hasn't caught on yet. And there's a lot of issues, but the rating, it's a big part of it. The quality of play is lower because these tournaments aren't rated. It just is, right? There's more blunders because the players will be all smiles at dinner. And I'm not saying that that's a problem, it's your choice, but I can
normal.
guarantee you that if freestyle events were classical FIDE rated, there would be a lot more
Tension.
intensity and preparation going on.
Yeah, and what is the question? I don't know if
But-
you wanna. Yeah, go.
I'm sorry. Regarding the preparation, though, how do you prepare for a freestyle match?
Well, I feel like there would be, I don't think you can prepare for a freestyle match if you don't know the position. But yeah, there are ways to train freestyle at the highest level. Like I can already see, like the person that I've talked to the most about this is FIDE. He's a good friend of mine. And we rekindled our friendship in Weisenhaus after we lost touch a little bit. We used to be very close friends. I've known him for so many years.
Yeah, you guys are same year.
And yeah,
1995.
1996, I think, but like a few months apart.
He's 95. Oh, you're 96.
No,
Sorry.
I'm 95. I thought he was 96.
He's 95.
Are you sure?
I think so. I played with him when he was 2300. We played in the local St. Petersburg team championships.
Oh, then of course he's 95.
Yeah, when the first board, he was in the Petrovskaya Ladya and I was for Dюж 2 Kalininskого rayona. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's the OG.
Great. But he loves Fisher Random. He's been passionate about it for a long time.
Yeah.
People need to realize this game has existed for a long time.
Before Weisenhaus.
Yeah, before, Weisenhaus was there. The Village was there before freestyle and probably before chess. But there are rules and principles that you can develop for sets of positions. Like if any position with like the knight on A1 and the bishop next to the knight, there's like certain maneuvers that you can carry out regardless of where the other pieces are. This is like mind-bogglingly complicated, right? These are like, you're developing principles, right? Like control the center. In freestyle, like sometimes you control the center, sometimes it's a terrible idea to control the center. Bring out your knights before your bishops. Totally doesn't apply.
Yeah, nothing applies. You really kind of need to recognize those patterns that you would know by your already existing chess culture.
Right. So more of a reason why someone who's trying to improve at like me, like an improver at like the regular game of chess it would almost be disadvantageous to spend time trying to play freestyle because it's sort of going like against what you've been trying to learn, right?
It would confuse the fuck of you, out of you.
I can only go based on my experience. I'm not a hater because I have an agenda. All of my students,
let me be a hater.
The young students, they can't stomach it. Like they just.
And they're 2100, your young students.
Younger like kids have a hard time with the like visualization. It is objectively much harder to make freestyle chess accessible to beginners. And all of this can be true and the tour can continue. And I will do what I can to help the project move toward a successful state, right? Like I'm not saying I won't ever commentate. I probably won't do Paris just because I want like a little break.
Or because Hans is playing there?
Even though Hans is playing there. I mean, I did Hans versus Duov, but like I'm happy to come to New York and help out with commentary there. I am a friend of the company. I wanted Freestyle to know this when I was leaving Weisenhaus. I am not standing in their way. I just think that because like I feel like we need to be honest about the limitations. And we need to be honest about its place because when we create these like, again, these shibboleths like, oh, freestyle is the future of chess. Like
cheating is
an existential. It's like I can't listen to this as someone who's been in chess for 20 years and take it seriously if we're going to just like the first thing we're saying is clear bullshit and everybody has to like eat it. For what? Like I'm not benefiting from it, so I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be honest, okay?
Haven't they like promised that their investors they're gonna 10x their money and they're gonna make it as a business model?
Well, I think Jan Henrik, he wants this to be a profitable company eventually. And listen, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that the man has given a lot of money to like, in many ways set the standard for what an organization should look like, organization of a tournament should look like.
Like in chess.
Like in chess, fair play is taken very seriously. There are positive aspects, and when somebody does this, it moves the standards forward. But he is not doing this out of philanthropy, and that's, he's had the first person to say that. When I hear like they want to 10x their investment, but first question I have is, what is the product?
Yeah,
what are people paying for? Like, how do you make money off of this? I assume it's because you attract sponsors, but like that's not a new business model. Like I just don't see how it's going to work unless there's some hidden component that is added in. Like the vision has to be more cohesive and it has to be one step at a time. First, we need to run a successful broadcast. We need to work out the kinks. Then we start worrying about attracting sponsors. I feel like there's too much all at once. At the same time, I'm excited for Paris. I mean, Hans is going to be playing.
Magnus is going to be playing.
Any
Hikaru is going
Hans
to be
plays
playing.
in, raises the viewership.
Yeah.
The Levitov match, mean, I'm proud of the fact that I can commentate in Russian, and I thought I did a pretty good job. I really tried, and people love that match. Like the first day, we had tons of technical problems. Ilya had tons of technical problems because he was unprepared.
Nice.
Even though I warned him, I was like, Ilya, you need to do this a week in advance.
Yeah, because it's a DGT board and it's a
2
blitz
hours
game.
before, he's like, okay, I'm starting to prepare. I'm like, no, this is not going to work. And of course, it crashed and burned. And the second day, we worked it out, and it was awesome. People liked it. We need to go back to that. Like, chess is interesting. Let's not forget that.
Speaking of that match, what happened to the lie detector? Is it ever taking place? That's a rhetorical
It was
question.
a bait and switch. I thought I was the only one. I thought that the whole point was I don't even know what a polygraph looks like. Like
Everybody thought that.
Thing like that. Like, what does it physically entail? I don't know. I thought that they'd be led into a room right after the match and they'd do the test. But no, that was never the plan. And like, when's the polygraph? Is it tomorrow? Nobody knows. And Shimanov was the same way. He was just as confused as me. So the match turned out to be interesting, thank God, because if it didn't, people would be like, what the hell did I just waste my time on?
It was a close match. And like, just this is off topic, but commentating in Russian, like, matters to you so much. Like, sometimes it matters to you more than commentating in English in certain ways, no? Like, that's
What do
the
you mean by
perspective.
matters?
Like, it's important for you to make the audience enjoy what you're doing in Russian.
Well, first of all, I claim that I'm fluent in Russian, and so I want to actually this time put my mouth where my mouth is, literally. So it's not for me to judge, but like you can.
Yeah.
Obviously, like when the Kramnik debate happened, you were encouraging me to do it in English. Like, of course, like my vocabulary is richer. I can express myself. Like, it takes less effort, but I'm proud of it. I did World Championship in 2021 with Grishuk. I'm proud of the fact that I can commentate in Russian, and there's a chess culture, like among all Russian-speaking countries. Chess is deeply ingrained in the culture, so it's very important for me to show that I respect that. And like, obviously, there's a very charged atmosphere right now, like geopolitically, and like I'm just commentating a chess match. Like I want to do what I can do. I can't change the course of world events. What I can do is try to help bring people together by enjoying a chess match together.
Which is beautiful. It is one of like the messages, right, that you're sending people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we don't always need to be at each other's throats. It's okay to sometimes like shake hands at the end of it, even if we're not going to agree on everything.
Even when you're Dubov and Hans and you're still shaking hands.
Well, it would be nice, right?
They
But Hans
did.
needs to do the polygraph. Like, he needs to stop screwing around. At least, like, okay, like if I searched on my phone right now, polygraph services Charlotte NC. Like,
We could invite him.
it can't be that hard to set up. Like, I don't understand
Let's set
why this is so logistically
We can set it up. Dubov has a visa.
Well, Kramnik now is like helping. Why is Vladimir always involved in like everything? And Hans on the one hand is like, I'm going to do and suddenly it's pseudoscience. Like, when it's convenient, he calls it pseudoscience. But I think for Hans's own sake, his reputation will take a major hit unless he goes through this. I've never read up on polygraphs. Fine, pseudoscience, it doesn't matter. He gave his word. He's got to do it. Like, he's got to swallow it and do it.
How long has this been lingering?
It's like, well, people are forgetting about it now, but like, it's one of those things that's
I think a
going to eat
month.
at him.
A month? No? Something like a month.
Something like a month, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the day of the second day of the Dubov Hans match was the day I lost. It's 15-0 to Woodward.
You know, yeah. Which leads to, I mean, so many follow-up questions, but we actually thought of bringing this in. Do you think Hans' reputation is self-inflicted?
Do I think you're implying that his reputation is less than perfect?
Do you think he's
How dare you.
he's enjoying antagonizing himself? Or like, what's the word for it? Not antagonizing, but he likes playing to being a
I think
victim.
I understand what you're getting at.
Like, all publicity is.
No,
good
like I think,
Yeah.
okay, so I obviously, people know this, have maintained a good, solid relationship with Hans through everything that's happened. I'm not saying this this is an achievement of some sort. Why am I like that? I'm like the Switzerland of the chess world because I'm not, selfishly I'm interested in playing him, right? I love playing Hans and Blitz, especially. Like, I want to be able to play him.
I'm so proud to have remained Hans' friend throughout everything that's what's going on and everything that the poor guy has had to, process.
Yeah, my motivations are always I want to be able to play chess with him. And this is a complicated topic that for some reason it brings out unbelievable levels of like emotional, like often very toxic emotional energy. And I don't want to get threats by like fans or anti-fans. Like I want to stay out of people's way, like because I have a mission in life, I have a calling to play chess, to teach chess. I want to be able to continue doing that in peace. Apparently that's way too much to ask. So why did I manage to maintain a good relationship with Hans? Obviously, when Magnus dropped out of the Sinquefield Cup, I, like every grandmaster on the planet, was convinced that Magnus knew something. So if you go back to my personal DMs from the day, of course, like it was a foregone conclusion to me. Oh, Magnus caught Hans cheating. He knows something, right? He got a tip. When it started transpiring that maybe not, like maybe Magnus is operating purely off of his suspicions, then I started to change my mind. And I did send Hans a message at the time that, listen, Hans, I'm going to be objective insofar as I can be, and I'm going to try to give you a fair shake. For like the longest time, we didn't have like any information. Shit was happening. There were like the weird interviews. And I was trying to like maintain a low profile. I wasn't milking the situation for views because
unlike Levy or Hikaru.
Whether or not, I mean, like it's none of my, like they did what they did, but whether or not Hans cheated, like, which at that point I didn't know, I still feel like it is unfair to the man to like dunk on him or like publish videos at his expense. It's just like not my style. And I think he appreciated that. Now, does Hans enjoy being the villain of chess? I don't know whether he enjoys it. Does he score a lot of own goals? I think he does. And I think that one thing that Hans may not fully recognize, I know he's not asking for my advice. Like, God knows, like, I am but a sinner. So I hope people don't misinterpret this like I'm from a pedestal telling him how he should act. Hans is not always easy to work with. And there are moments, I think, when he needlessly antagonizes people who have not been part of the chess mafia and who have given him a fair shake. Okay, myself included, at times. Like when, you know, for example, I don't know, like when, during the initial interview, right, the famous one, when he mentioned that, like, you're part of the fair play, like, I was never part of chess.com fair play.
In Paris, right? It was a grand...
No, the one after his SEC match with Wesley.
Okay, that was when he qualified, when we qualified for Paris.
Like the Paris interview was...
Yeah. That was the online thing where he qualified and everybody knew he was going to play Magnus.
Like Hans talks about the chess mafia, and I really feel like that it is a trigger for me, to be honest, because I've never been part of any fucking chess mafia.
Oh yeah, you're not a part. You're the only one who stands against maybe me.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like, there is no chess mafia, right? And when I hear myself lumped into this category, I am a chess player just like he is. I am beholden to the game of chess and only to the game of chess. I was there before chess.com, before Elite Chess, and before Gene's Game.
The only ICC was before you, RIP. They're trying to.
And yeah, ICC, rest in peace. Yeah. Rebirth. So to say that I'm like beholden to this, it's a little bit disingenuous, and I feel like it's a little bit unfair. And what Hans does is the people who might be his defenders and who might eventually move the needle, he feels like this reputation of a cheater constantly follows him around. And I think partly it's legitimate. I really do think that Hans is not making it up when he says that he's been through a lot. You can hate the guy, you can hate his personality. I just find it hard for myself to wish harm upon someone whose mission in life is to become the world champion. The people who are furious at Hans and who pretend that he is the Antichrist makes me question, like, is there nobody in your life who you can find it in yourself to hate more? You're really going to hate Hans with the same passion that you hate, like, I don't know, Pol Pot? Or like someone on one of the Kramnik videos said I was the Ted Bundy of chess. Like, what? Like, Ted Bundy? Like, really? Not even just like a shoplifter, a serial killer. Like, whoa.
The thing I never understood, like, why Hans and Kramnik bonded together so much?
I
understand.
It's too much cognitive dissonance for me to possibly... Well, they had a training session in Geneva, right?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely benefit from each other's friendship, but how genuine it is, or at least in Hans' own view, how genuine is it? He's like, because obviously he knows like whatever Kramnik stands on you, but he definitely doesn't agree with that. Yet
he doesn't, and yet
yeah, it's just
weird because in Paris when I was interviewing him, that was already when Kramnik was going after me. Like I tried to give Hans a chance to clarify his work with Kramnik. I don't really believe in guilt by association.
Yeah.
Kramnik is like historically great player. A lot of my students have Kramnik's course. Even after he initiated his campaign, I would tell certain of my students to buy Kramnik's Chessable course because I thought it was the best thing for their chess education.
That's so
I'm not
sweet of
going to
you.
put my own, like whatever's happening to me, my job as a coach is to help my students do whatever it is I think is best for them to improve, full stop. And like the people who are sanctimoniously saying like, oh, you do this and therefore you're supporting X or supporting Y, like I can't like hold everything in my head at the same time. I focus on my priorities and they are what they are. So I told Hans in Paris, like, what do you think is misunderstood about Kramnik? And I asked him about the accusations. And his response was just like nonchalant, like, oh, it's none of my business or whatever. Well, it is your business, Hans, because yes, I don't believe in guilt by association. And if you clarify that, like, I strongly disagree with Kramnik's position on like anti-cheating, but I think that he helps me improve my chess and we have like a good relationship in a chess situation, like that's understandable to me. Again, like I'm not going to judge him for working with Kramnik. I think that's just like low. But for Hans to beat around the bush and pretend like this is not a big deal, or that Kramnik hasn't been devoting himself fully to anti-cheating in the last like year and his methods have gotten more and more deranged, it's a little bit strange to me.
I think for me the biggest kind of like dishonesty that I feel and unfairness in the year around like their friendship is that Hans is the one person in the world who knows how painful it is to be accused wrongly of something and how it can damage one's career. And yet his only friend, his best friend other than Brendan Jacobson, with a rook a3 and etc., becomes Vladimir, who like is literally like putting stamps on every second per talented person, right?
And then in the same breath, Hans claims that nobody gives him a fair shake. Like, he doesn't help his cause. He, like with St. Louis, right? He can't want everything. If he wants an invite, like he has to make an effort to make up with certain people or certain chess organizations, or else this is never going to end. He said in his video, right, the polygraph video, that he said something like, this year American Cup is inviting only Missouri players with the Missouri residence. Clearly they're bullshitting, and when the first non-Missouri player registers, you'll see that they're all after me. I wasn't able to register for the American Cup, and it truly was only open to Missouri residents, hence why it's called the Missouri Cup. Well, wait a second. Interesting. Yeah, how dare the third place finisher last year want to play in a blitz tournament, the only strong one in America. Anyways, I was going to say one more thing. Yeah, this is an untouchable topic. Like, I don't know how to say this without pissing people off, but like now when I play Hans, I trust, it's like going to, do you remember like the Chipotle E. coli scandal? Maybe you
Oh, yeah.
I was like the only one going to Chipotle right afterward. It's the best time to go to Chipotle because I know it sounds weird, but like they're going to be inspecting their food 10 times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like the best time to buy a car model is after like they've been recalled. It's a great time to fly Boeing, you know? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, it's great. I totally get your point.
Yeah.
So when I play Hans, I have zero doubts, like probably more than anybody, with like on the level of Magnus or Hikaru, that he's playing honestly. And the people who are bashing him over the head with it, it's getting old. And in general, our approach to anti-cheating, I think, should not be, let's open up all the skeletons in everyone's closet, because that's a road to a very, very dark, bad place. It's let's make sure that people are like that we trust players moving forward based on, you know, their past behavior. But I don't believe that Hans has ever clarified specifically. Still, I asked him this in the interview, when he's cheated, how much he's cheated online. Am I correct in that, Dina?
Yeah, well, that's essentially
crazy.
why we had this match between him and Dubov, right? That was the reason why Dubov didn't show up for the game, because like there are players who believe that Hans hasn't been truthful about.
But there's like confusion about OTB and online, right? I think Dubov, I don't know what Dubov thinks, but like maybe he thinks Hans cheated over the board. Until any evidence comes out of that, I think it's ridiculous to like assume guilt until proven innocent. I'm talking about online cheating.
Yeah.
Because
well, that was the reason that there was a reason why chess.com made what they did, like which they potentially regretted after, right? When they like the reasons why they played into Magnus's desire to antagonize Hans were because they knew the amount of times Hans cheated and then the amount of times that Hans did not admit.
Yeah, like Hans disputes the chess.com report. Of course, I was truthful in that I reviewed my games with Hans, and just because I didn't see anything suspicious, chess.com does invest a lot in their anti-cheating methods. This is why they exist. If any old GM could look over a game, this is one of the misconceptions that for some reason, GMs still believe that I can see this game and I can always tell if my opponent was cheating. That's not how it works. There's like under the surface measurements and statistical analyses. That's why like Kenneth Reagan has like spent half of his career developing anti-cheating methods. It's actually hard. And it's based on math. But Hans has admitted to cheating online. First it was like one tournament, then it was like 2 tournaments. And the response that people have given to me on stream is like, well, how can you expect him to remember when he's cheated? I don't buy that. Okay.
How do you expect me to remember how many times I shoplifted?
Right, or like stole. Like it's crazy to me to think that like Hans would not remember. That is 100% not the case. I think Hans does remember, and so the big question here is: did you cheat? Like, sit down, name the tournaments where you cheated, right? Where he's an engine. If it was continuous for a stretch of time, just come clean. And I think Hans is overestimating. He thinks that if he does that, people will rake him over the coals. I think he should have done that at the outset. I think that like people would have practiced more forgiveness if he did that. But right now he's very vague. Like he keeps wishy-washy. And his defense is like, well, why do you keep like bashing me over the head for what happened in the past? Well, it's because nobody understands the extent of his online cheating because he hasn't been clear about it. So I'm not demanding this. It's Hans's right to do as he pleases. But I think personally, it would be easier for me to, let's say, to defend his record and to like fight against the constant like hate that he gets in the present day, which I think is wrong. If he were to like identify the tournaments and explain like how he cheated, like was it with an accomplice? Was it following games with his phone? I think that would really show that he is proactive. I have nothing to hide. This happened when I was 14. Are you going to forgive me, or are you going to be like, are you going to pretend that this is going to like make it impossible for me to succeed in chess for the rest of my life? How
dare you pointing a finger at the 14, 13, 15, and 16-year-old kid?
You're
like,
an IM at 14, 15. Of course, like, again, cheating is a sliding scale, right? I think, is cheating online the same thing as cheating OTB? No. Is cheating in money tournaments? I think there's a huge line to be drawn there. So, another shibboleth, by the way, cheating is cheating. Like, no, right? It's like shoplifting versus robbing a bank at gunpoint. I think that's the difference between...
Or stabbing someone with a knife.
Yeah, like cheating in a money tournament versus non-money tournament, it's a huge difference. Both are terrible. Oh, are you saying that like, well, Naroditsky did it in a speed run, so clearly he doesn't think it's bad.
Bishop c8, yeah.
So I don't want to rehash the like narrative of events because I want to put this behind me just like everybody does.
Yeah.
The reason that occasionally I get I'm going to be honest here, and if people want to go back to like the whole Naroditsky's crying again and all he does is complain about this and why didn't he just ignore, why is he milking the drama? I just want people to know like that is a very shitty perspective, you're very wrong, and I hope people don't think this because...
Well, the only person who's usually crying is Hikaru, no?
What do you mean?
Like in general, and complaining and crying. Like, I've never heard you crying.
Well, no, actually, Hikaru took his own approach with Kramnik. He told him to go fuck himself, and Kramnik in our interview was like, well, you didn't like defend me. I actually said that I disagree respectfully with Hikaru's approach when he did that. I make no bones about that. I don't think that was an appropriate reaction at the time. At the same time, like Hikaru, I understand why he did that. It's none of my business. But like Hikaru, who I'll mention in a second, he correctly like said that like I don't have the ability to say go fuck yourself, because that's going to make me look more suspicious. I don't have that like record of over the board chess. I don't have as much inbuilt trust. But those 2 months or however long, let's say from the first video until the last video, it was among the most difficult periods of my life. And I don't say that lightly. There were moments where I felt like my life was collapsing in front of me. That like people are actually believing this. Like it took me so long to understand, because everything that this is built on is so absurd. And I know I've never cheated in a single game, right? So not only that, you know, Dina, that I play like OTB chess, OTB blitz. I live for that. There's a bullet match over the board against Fabiano Caruana, which I like won. I'm just as good OTB as I am online. Everybody knows this, right? Like, do you feel me on that? Like, it's not that I have never come out of my cave in Charlotte and I'm just some like anonymous unknown. I'm from the same Soviet chess school as Kramnik is. I speak his language. He knows my coach, Psahis. Like, I was like, this is going to resolve itself in a day, right? Like this, there's no way that this is going to stick, right? So that was the initial shock. And then when this dragged on and I felt like super GMs were starting to like question my integrity, it was like such a shell shock. It was like everything I built was crashing down because of like, what? Like where are the defending voices? Like, why is this happening? You know, like I'm still recovering from it, to be honest. Do you feel like I'm exaggerating it, Dina?
No, it's actually like, speaking of defending voices, like there have been certain grandmasters, elite chess players who've been like definitely taking sides behind the scenes, but never like going public, such as Anish Giri or Yan Nepomniachtchi, like who like obviously have a lot of things against Hans. They were actually the first ones suspecting Hans behind the scenes, and yet they are obviously great friends with Vladimir, right? And then with like obviously on his side in every now and then, somewhat to the allegations of cheating towards potentially you as well.
Yeah, this was the most tilting thing, that the people are assuming that it's just one guy. Kramnik shouting on the street corner, why are you just like ignore? Stop doing what you always do and pay attention to the troll. No, okay? Like not just like Jan, but normal GMs. Like you can see this even like after I played New York. Like I understand they didn't mean badly, but the tweets that were like, Vladimir Versovich, you see, Naroditsky got 10th place. Are you satisfied now? So like what, if I had a bad tournament, this would have followed me for the rest of my life? Because I could have, if I lost to Fressinet down a queen, like when I lost to Gelfand, I almost had a nervous breakdown. I was like smashing my head with my phone. Like it was just like.
Had Ivanchuk not lost on time?
Like you could see how I was freaking out. I felt like my life was on the line in New York. Like if I didn't have a good tournament, and this is an explicit quote from a super GM who shall go unnamed. He's like, people will leave you alone under the condition that you do well in New York and like that you, I forget what was the second condition. Like what the fuck? Like how does this guy get to do this? And then the other big misconception was that I was dragging this on by engaging, right? That Hans told me this, I hope I can share this, that like, of course Hans doesn't agree with me. He knows I don't cheat. But he said, but you should have ignored him from the start.
Or you should have taken on his generous offer to play the match in Geneva.
Which I'm not going to go through my reasons for, like the fact that
we invited him in Charlotte. He's still welcome.
Did. I have many times said we can play an online match under a proctor.
Yeah.
I'll go to the chess center. We'll hire an arbiter. No and no and no.
Which also, so what if you lose that? If you played poorly, like respective to your rating, then you're a cheater, like you're convicted.
What he does is like he's a third place finisher in the 2019 World Blitz. He's actually one of the greatest blitz players of all time. He's not even 50, but the people who are none the wiser, they see an old guy who can't move his mouse. He'll use that image when it suits him. And then when like he's analyzing my games, like I'm a world champion, you don't argue with me. Like what I'm saying is the truth, right?
But to be clear, his method of analyzing the games is what exactly? Like, how is he determining these
98% accuracy. My students have 98% accuracy.
But not just well, in my case, it was like looking up. And I have to like credit even
Bishop
Jan,
C8 is an interesting move.
right? Bishop,
Right. But my point is, like, there's no like structured, data-driven scientific approach to this, other than like
it's the opposite. It's so absurd, and when you reach that point of absurdity, it's like it's hard to disprove it. Like the third monitor, and
He does say he hires statisticians and mathematicians, that he's great friends, and then he shows screenshots of the private conversations with those statisticians who say
I can tell you that there are people who got obsessed with. There's a Discord dedicated to like Naroditsky, like rabbit hole cheating. There were like people full time who got so obsessed with this, they would go through all of my videos, all of my content. This is not just Kramnik. There's a lot of people who did this. Quite a few GMs behind the scenes. Either they were actively like, a lot of them were like, let me grab my popcorn, right? Let me,
I think I know who you're
watch how
talking
this
about.
unfolds. And Hikaru was the only one, not that I am owed any support, but when he publicly went out in my defense, like something I will never forget. And Hikaru and I have our disagreements. We'll never be the best of friends, but when push came to shove and my reputation was on the line, he went to bat for me, and I really, really appreciated that. And I'm still very, very grateful to him for moving the needle. Last two things. Jan, I wanted to mention. Jan thinks that I cheat. Nothing I ever do is going to change that. However, I do have to at least point out that he engaged with me, right? One-on-one, I sent him a message. I said, listen, Jan, here is why I think you're wrong. He took the time to craft a really long response. He gave me 6, he really, I value his time. He's a world champion contender. And we talked for a long time, and he was respectful. And he told me that I really like to be mistaken. I don't know. But he engaged with me, and not in public. And he explained to me exactly why I'm not going to reveal any private correspondence. I really appreciated that. And I think that even though I really object to, also, I think Jan is respectfully very confident in his self-perception of cheating, and he's wrong. But at least he never did this too publicly. I'm not happy with how he talked about me on stream, but it's not the same thing. And even in the case of someone who thinks I'm a cheater, the bare minimum is do this in a private correspondence, right? Tell me why you think I cheat. So I do appreciate that, and that's why I think I've maintained a pretty good relationship with Jan, in as much as I can have a good relationship, because he thinks I cheat. Last thing is this notion that I was the one perpetuating the scandal. And not only is that untrue, literally, I think I made something like 10 attempts to sue for peace. I did it again and again and again, even when I was bashed over the head. I still tried to, the final try was the Levitov podcast, where I literally offered to continue the dialogue on someone's podcast, provided that the videos would stop.
Do you feel like the dust has mostly settled with that, or do you feel like you've seen sort of an influx of trolling on your videos, or that there've been, and actually, wait, did the Proctor launch, did that come after this? Or
Yeah, the Proctor launch came after it, and this is why I'm sensitive to the Levy video, right? Because I don't want to reignite the fake, oh, he's throwing games now. This is how I'm cheating. Compared to the peak, when I couldn't do a commentary without trolls coming in and accusing me of cheating during the commentary, there was literally nothing that I could do. I still have, I played a match with Anish Giri, blitz match during the peak of this. I had 5 cameras, on all sides. I had 5 cameras filming me. I won 7.5, 2.5. Now, I will never fault Anish for this. He's not responsible for his chat. I looked over at the end his YouTube chat, and I was almost in tears. Every second comment was he's cheating, he's cheating, he's cheating. I'm literally pushing a pass pawn forward to a promotion. And listen, I'm not owed anything by anybody, but it would have been nice if 1 or 2 more people spoke out. I'm not saying they had to do a stream, or Vishy Anand had to command the whole chat. 1 or 2 words to show that this is not acceptable, because unlike Hans, I have never, Hans has confessed to cheating, And still, I think like the way that he was treated is, unless more information comes out, wildly inappropriate. Not least because he's young and like, fuck, like just, he's not the Antichrist. I have sacrificed everything to chess and have made it my ultimate priority to play honestly for my whole life, right? Surely like that must be worth something. But the biggest thing is just like, I want to go through, if you're not tired of this, the like moments where I tried to tamp down this situation one by one. Can I do that?
Oh yeah.
So when he issued the match challenge, do you think people realized that like it would be absurd for me to accept from my perspective? Or do people still think that like I'm a cheater because I didn't agree to this match with Kramnik after seeing the shit show that happened with Jocelyn?
So yeah, absolutely, you have nothing to prove. Like, why would you agree on like a match under the condition that they accuse you? It's like we're not in 16th century anymore when we're doing those duels. Like, I want this bitch, no, I want this bitch, so we shoot each other.
So, you know, the Chess Bra sponsor offered very kindly to comp my money. It wasn't about the money. And I did offer like an informal match. I ignored, right? This is what pisses me off. Like, I didn't respond at all. I didn't say anything, and I said, okay, I will let you have your moment. I was still very respectful, and I think some people think that like Kramnik was my idol when I was young. You know that picture with him?
Yeah, that I made a reel out of.
Yeah, he was one of my like the people I looked up to. Even in 2014, we played twice over the board. In London, we made a draw at a rapid tournament. My mom wanted me to take a picture with him so that we have the chronology, right? 2007, 2014. I was like, no, I don't want to impinge on his freedom, his time. What broke my heart is that if Kramnik had talked to Psahis, my like latest coach, I have the greatest reverence for the world champion. I would rather insert any like horrible medieval punishment than to cheat against a former world champion. Like anybody who knows me knows that this is something that I take very seriously. Anytime he would accept my challenge, I would drop everything, run to the computer. Oh my God, I'm playing world champion. Out of respect for him, it would be unfair to give him anything but my full attention. I wouldn't pull an Andy Woodward there. Sorry, Andy. So it broke my heart even on that level that this man thinks I have, you know, a lack of moral integrity to such an extent, right? You remember the 64 article in 2008 where I was like, yeah, anyways, I won't get into that. I ignored, he publishes the videos. At that point, I asked for some advice from some super GMs that I trusted. I did a short stream where I showed my setup. I was like, I'm gonna set the record straight, like this is based on a misunderstanding, no problem, I did that, right? In response, he like reacted to a video published by a YouTube channel named Stoned Gamer that was like an out of context 10-minute clip and pretended that it was like my full response. And that reignited things even further. I still didn't respond to that. Video after video comes out day after day. The comments are like pure hate. And there's a lot of comments, there's like hundreds of comments. I understand people are like, oh, it's all bots. How do I know that? Like, I'm like, where did this come from? Who are these people? And then I want to end with this. On his like fourth video, I spent the entire night crafting a YouTube comment in Russian. I think very few people know this. Dina, you helped me write this comment up because I'm not used to like communicating stuff like this in Russian. Here's approximately, I'm gonna just read the important parts. It's 2 pages. I literally spent like 8 hours and only was able to do this with your help. Dear Vladimir Borisovich, in order to, in the future, avoid misunderstandings, and because you, like me, have more than once expressed a readiness to mature dialogue, I'd like to clarify a few important moments. The video that your react is dedicated to, and especially its title, does not have any relationship with me. It was taken without my approval from my stream of October 15th. This is easy to understand, having looked at the name of the channel where you found the video, Stoned Gamer, with like 4 subscribers. So then I go into it, I like give him a link to the stream where I had my full reaction, and then I want to read the last few paragraphs. Okay. In addition, I'd like to assure you that I do not intend to impinge in any way on your fight with cheating, and especially on your right to demand that everybody recognize the scale of the problem of cheating and the importance of adopting stronger measures. However, I hope that you will deem reasonable the assertion that a productive dialogue can only happen under the condition that all participants are acting in good faith and allow for the possibility that their convictions and their affirmations could be erroneous. Just such a case is unfortunately in front of us. Unfortunately, your conviction is not only doesn't correspond with the truth, but also hurts my reputation, which was earned with the aid of many years of hard work and, most importantly, completely honest play. Your confidence in your own your own rightness, in the total unimpeachability of your behavior, in the infallibility of your logic, and those facts that you operate with, do not change and will never change the fact that you are deeply mistaken. I play and will always play honestly, and in regards to cheating, I have the same total disgust that you have. By insisting on these false conclusions, some of which I refute in the stream whose link I provide above, you are placing under doubt your loyalty to the cause and to the truth. And without this loyalty, the fight against this horrible problem, to stand against it, which is the responsibility of every morally adequate chess player, will end in a fiasco. Last paragraph. It is lamentable, of course, to see your preliminary reaction to my explanation of the candidate move bishop c8, right, which was to laugh at it. Having recognized while doing so the complete and total absurdity of the fact that I have to explain verbally the fact that 2 years ago, in my mind, my mind came up with a completely normal positional move that by complete coincidence is the second line of some computer. It seems to me that you are not ready to follow the complete devotion to an objective approach and rational mindset that you are demanding from others. However, I'm still hopeful that you will deem it important to place yourself in my shoes and to listen to my arguments in their totality without any prejudice. With deep respect, Daniel Naroditsky. And there's a little bit more there, but in response, I got the usual hate. Rather than words, why don't you go out of your hellhole in Charlotte and play tournaments? Yeah, Daniel, the best way to show the truth is to perform well in New York. Mm-hmm. And that was attempt number 2. And then, of course, the Levitov podcast, where I literally try to treat Kramnik with respect. This is after 6 videos. I told Jan, I offered to have a podcast on Jan's channel with Kramnik on his territory, in his language, with someone who isn't really on my side, right? And again, I have to give some credit to Jan, he heard me out and he was respectful to me, he treated me like a human being. And so when people tell me that I was the one who perpetuated this, it's to me, that's when I throw my hands up. I'm what else could I have done? Mm-hmm. My honor is at stake.
So for the World Rapid and Blitz, how are you feeling? I mean, going into that?
Relieved.
Going into it, knowing that this was kind of going to be what
terrified.
Proved, yeah.
Terrified. I was terrified of the Blitz. Let's put the Rapid aside. Mm-hmm. I had a good Rapid tournament. The Blitz was awful. I won the first game. It was a nice game. Second game, I lost in a winning position. Third game, I had that mate against Dura Bailey. And then I started losing. I lost to, who did I lose to? Do you remember? I lost to Gelfand.
Wasn't it some Uzbek player?
Yeah, Vakhidov. And then when I lost to Gelfand, I remember walking out of the playing hall and there were all these fans standing around and I shouted something at them. And I was just like walking. I'm like, I'm going to keep walking for like 45 minutes. And I kind of like got control of myself. But I understand that people, in reality, even if I had a bad tournament, people would defend me. Like nothing would have happened. But I know for a fact that like this would have, in the minds of at least some super GMs and some very influential people, like I would have dug my grave over like one day of blitz. And so I like told myself, yeah, I need to pretend that my life is on the line here. That's what I told myself. I came back. I won 5 in a row. I beat Antipov. I beat Woodward. I beat Fressinet in a lost position just through sheer willpower. I beat Ivanchuk and then I beat Dominguez. And the only reason I drew Wesley, I knew that I wouldn't qualify. Now, I haven't said this before. I knew that I would get a 2750 performance. And I'd finally likely be left the fuck alone. I didn't care about anything else other than that. So I knew that like likely I wouldn't qualify unless I beat Wesley. Under any normal circumstances I would play. But you know, thanks to the infinite wisdom of the chess world, like I wasn't playing this tournament to do anything but like make people leave me alone.
And just for the context, the 2750 was like the standard that Vladimir put in his tweets.
Which is totally, he was trying to choose a number that was so like high in the sky that was like he's never going to get it. And then I got a 2749 performance.
Amazing. Wow.
Gives me no joy, but I'm sorry to sound so melodramatic.
No, it's
did enjoy
amazing.
The Uzbek restaurant. I had the great support of family and friends. You guys were at the tournament supporting me. I couldn't have done it without you because like, it was so great to know that like there are people who have been faithful and like loyal from day one. Yeah, sorry to make it sound like a great like a battle for like.
I mean, it
like
was a
death.
battle. Like I saw you. You were not sleeping. You were not like eating. You were not like you weren't looking great.
But it was
honestly,
like people would say, but that's on you. Like you are making the choice to take these things seriously.
But that's your whole vibe. I mean, we had this question prepared for you. I kind of know the answer, but I feel like it's important to ask you, like, why does the opinion of all this elite chess players matter to you so much?
I think it has to do, first of all, with like there's an old school notion of like honor. And I think nowadays, you know, it's like it doesn't resonate as much, but to me it's still very important. I'm like from the Soviet school, and there's this like total, maybe like overly deferential respect to authority. This is why like when kids argue with me at chess camps, I'm like, man, if I did this, like my coach would say, like when a GM is speaking, you shut up and listen, you soak in the knowledge.
I got myself in a big trouble like that in the latest elite camp because the kid was laughing and talking while Judith was also explaining something. And I made a comment and then the mom really didn't like it.
Right.
And it was a blown up
And you were
thing.
like the mildest possible way. Like
I was telling you, like Judith Polgar
terribly.
is talking. Like, what are you doing? Why are you turning your back? And laughing.
And the most important thing is, even if you're right, like Judith or anybody says a variation and you see that they're wrong, out of respect, you listen, right? They've earned the right to speak. They can be boring. Like, this is the basic thing that you can do in return for their contribution to the game of chess. This is why even when Kramnik, from the very beginning, was questioning my honor, out of respect for his contribution to chess, I held out hope again and again that like he will see the light eventually. I will keep offering myself up in good faith. I will keep doing like as he demanded, the Title Tuesday stream, another like
10 cameras.
And I basically relied on the fact that I'm going to do well in that Title Tuesday. It's not easy to play on 5 cameras, right? Like now that I'm asked to use Proctor, that's another issue. Like I don't like it at all.
Headphones.
Yeah, like Proctor, I'm not going to get into it too much, but like it's an uneven playing field. And it's an uneven playing field, and it's not that I have it out for Hikaru, but like Hikaru's won the most Title Tuesdays, right? Shouldn't like the guy who won the most Title Tuesdays, it doesn't matter that it is Hikaru, it could be anybody. Shouldn't he have to use Proctor? Like what is the logic behind him not having to use Proctor? In general, it should be everybody or nobody. It is absurd that a select group of people have to play with 2 cameras and the others don't. It's a big disadvantage. I usually play the first Title Tuesday from my phone in bed. I can't do that anymore. You can't play while you're traveling. And I have less tolerance for all of this because now I haven't gotten over 8.5 ever since I had to use Proctor. And I can already see like interesting. Maybe a coincidence, maybe not. Like, I want to put this behind me, and I don't want to like put myself in a situation where the fire might get reignited. But I'm really sad that this has like dominated the chess landscape. But the opinions of top players, it means the world to me because my honor means the world to me. It's the only thing you have as a chess player is your honor, right? And I'm not 18 anymore. I have to think about the legacy that I'm trying to create. What will people say about me when I retire from chess, right? Is it going to be that like top players were like, did Daniel really manage to keep his blitz level that high, even though he was retired from chess? Like, to me, the top players are gods, and it would truly break my heart beyond repair if I knew that they would sit down at a virtual board in front of me and even a scintilla of doubt would creep across their brains. Maybe he's not playing honestly. That is why I took such great pains, 5 cameras. It may sound like I was making fun of Kramnik. No, this is the sad part. I wasn't. Well, I was angry, but I wanted to convince anybody who had any doubts that like, I have nothing to hide. You know, like, I'm an open book. All I do is I just play chess. Please leave me alone now. Don't let me play.
Why did you retire from competitive chess?
Lots of reasons. I stopped enjoying classical as much. I sort of hit my long-time goal. Like my goal when I was really like not a GM was 2,600. That was sort of in my mind, like if I hit 2,600, I'll be happy with my achievements. Chess has also become a research project, I think, in many ways. And Levy, like, I don't know how he handles the pressure. Like I couldn't handle a Reddit post every day. Naroditsky lost to a 2,100. Naroditsky was losing to a 1,800. Naroditsky lost to a 5-year-old. I already have, like, on chess.com. Yeah, the pressure of, like, needing to perform. I don't know. Should I play classical? I know
Well,
people want
you
me
keep
to.
saying you're old. I think you're young. I also think that to a certain extent, chess doesn't have an age, especially when you are free to do whatever you fuck you want to do with your life.
I just want to chill. I feel like there's been so much noise the last couple months. Like, I don't even know. Maybe I will play a classical tournament in a little while, but I just want like a period of time where I just live on my own terms, because it's just been like a whirlwind. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, but it's just like, man, the chess world is crazy. All right, get out of here.
That's so beautiful. I feel like we don't even need an outro.
Yeah. Wait, I do want to ask one more question.
Yeah.
So we can conclude with.
Yeah, that could be like a funny way to.
Speaking of the pressure and Levy, is Levy going to become a GM?
No. And he knows this.